presented by the 2018 Honda Civic Type R, like no Honda you've ever seen.
Game 2 between the Blue Jays and the Red Sox here at Fenway Park in Boston. And just like last night, a great night for a ball game. We'll see if the Blue Jays can bounce back tonight after taking a defeat in the first game of the series 24 hours ago. John Gibbons at the helm again, and here's a look at the Blue Jay lineup that we will see at Fenway Park tonight, including Kendrys Morales, who's at first base tonight. Justin Smoak is the DH, and Morales continues to swing a hot bat. Remember, he homered in last night's game. And speaking of a hot bat, Devin Travis went 4 for 4 last night as his numbers continue to climb.
Third time in his career he's had a 4-hit game, and tonight they'll take on Rick Porcello. Porcello has been tough on the Blue Jays, especially in this ballpark. For his career, he's made 7 starts here at Fenway Park against the Blue Jays. He's 5-1 over those 7 starts. Rick Porcello for the season, this will be his 20th start, and he has 11 wins. One of 4 Red Sox starters with 10 or more wins before the All-Star break.
The Cy Young Award winner 2 years ago, as we are underway here in Boston with Curtis Granderson looking at a strike. Porcello's kind of been cold hot in his 4 years with the Boston Red Sox. Granderson sends the 0-1 high in the air, fairly deep to right center field, but there is one of the best in the outfield as Jackie Bradley Jr. makes the catch for out number 1.
Well, Bradley certainly one of the best center fielders in all of baseball, and tonight he's flanked by a left fielder, J.D. Martinez. Andrew Benintendi, who plays left field most of the time, is on a bereavement list, and he is out of action for the next 3 days. So J.D. Martinez making his 26th start of the season in left field. He's played a lot of left, obviously, in the past, but now at Fenway Park, he's got some adjustments to make, and you can see he was looking at his cheat sheet, making sure he is in the right place.
Because they don't have that much of a book yet on Lourdes Gurriel Jr., although they saw some good stuff last night from Gurriel, who went 2 for 4, including a double off the monster in left center field. He's hitting .344 in his last 8 starts and continues to impress with the bat. And last night we saw a couple of really good defensive plays as well.
Yeah, he's an all-around player, and he's just getting more comfortable with each at bat. And every time he plays an inning in the field, you see things that really open up your eyes. He's a special young player. I was talking with some scouts earlier today. I was sitting in the seats with them as they were watching batting practice, and they said, we saw Gurriel in the spring, we saw him early in the season, but he's getting better and better, and you can see how he's improved. First 20 games he had just over 200, but his last 9 games showing some power, showing some consistency, having good at bats.
1-2, and he lays off that breaking ball low. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Porcello generally a guy with a really good command. He's only walked 27 batters in 19 starts this year. He's coming at you. And just low again. A good take by Gurriel. A full count.
When Porcello won the Cy Young Award in 2016, he averaged 5.91 strikeouts for every walk. He will give you something to hit.
Ground ball to short to his left. Xander Bogaerts, and Gurriel retired, 2 down.
One thing Porcello has done this year, and I think it's helped him a lot, is he's gotten back to that 2-seam fastball, and that gets him a lot of ground balls. His ground ball rate is really up this year, and that's what he was originally with the Tigers. He was a tremendous sinker ball pitcher. Half the time you're going to get a fastball, either 2-seamer or 4-seamer from Porcello. He'll throw a slider, changeup, and an occasional curveball. But you can bet you're going to get a lot of sinking fastballs down in the zone with Rick Porcello on the mound.
Just 29 years of age in his 10th year in the big leagues as Yangervis Solarte steps in, playing third, hitting third for the Blue Jays. Didn't start the game last night. Wound up finishing the game at first base. He's hitting .246, 16 home runs on the season.
He's late again on that fastball. Heads up Arash. Arash is down there at Camberwell. You better have your glove with you.
He's deceptively nimble. Got a good first quick step. Shift on against Solarte. 2 down, bases empty, 2 strikes. And there's a base hit through the left side for Solarte.
Well, that was a pretty swing. A 2-strike swing, and Solarte's not one to cut his swing down. He likes to take a big swing, but right here, watch how he cuts his swing down. The pitch is away from him. He just slaps it through the hole at shortstop. When you have that much room on the left side of the field, I mean, that's a great approach. The pitch was away. He stayed on it, gets himself a 2-out base hit. He'd been struggling. That's his first hit in his last 18 at-bats, and it's a good start for Solarte here tonight.
And it brings up Justin Smoak, who was the designated hitter in tonight's game. Smoak left last night's game in the 8th inning. Suffered a cramp in his leg, and he apparently had been dealing with some cramping issues in the heat in Atlanta as well. But it's deemed to be minor, and he's back in there as the DH tonight. That's why Morales is at first. And Smoak has 4 career home runs against Rick Porcello, including one of them earlier this season. Here's a look at last night as he got near second base. Slowed up just a little bit, and then a little just reaching. There's the grab right there, just in the back of the hamstring, a little bit of a cramp, and the Blue Jays decided to play it cautiously and take him out of the game.
Now, you mentioned Smoak's success against Porcello. He's also swinging the bat very well right now, so you want to make sure you keep his bat in the lineup. Smokey's hit 4 home runs against Porcello. That's the most he's had against one pitcher in his career. And it's always been because he's a good low ball hitter. You can see how Porcello's working him upstairs. Porcello has given up 22 home runs to the Blue Jays. And they've always had a powerful lineup. And of course, having pitched with the Tigers and now the Red Sox, a lot of games in the East. Jose Bautista has the most career home runs against Porcello. He's hit 6. Brad Miller has 5, and then there's a group of 4 players, including Smoak, that have taken Porcello deep 4 times.
2 balls, 2 strikes. And just low again. Tried to backdoor that slider down and away, and he didn't miss by much. The count full. Solarte now will get a running start. Mitch Moreland rather, who's at first base for the Red Sox, looking into the dugout, and he's been told to play behind the runner. There goes Solarte, 3-2, and that is strike 3 call. So that's all for the Blue Jays. They'll leave a man on, and Ryan Borucki will take the mound at Fenway Park when we come back. To have the best record in all of baseball, 66-29. They have won 10 in a row. They've got the best offense in the game this year. And here's a look at their lineup tonight. What an at-bat it was last night for Mookie Betts. The grand slam of J. Happ, that 13-pitch at-bat. It's a productive, impressive 10-game hitting streak for Mookie Betts right now. And down at the bottom of the order, don't look now, but even their number 9 hitter is getting hot. Jackie Bradley Jr. starting to swing it well.
Well, the Red Sox will get their first look at Ryan Borucki, who had his first look at Fenway Park last night and certainly had a chance to watch J. Happ deal with this lineup. Borucki has pitched against the Red Sox before, albeit in spring training. This will be his 4th start of the season. Impressive numbers across the board. ERA at 2.25, and we have seen him without any signs of being intimidated. He comes right at you.
And another tough test, it goes without saying, here at Fenway Park tonight, even though the Red Sox are without some regulars. Has not shied away, has not nibbled, has worked quickly. That's the major league leader in slugging percentage and OPS. There's that slurve, that third pitch for Borucki, always described as kind of a work in progress. Definitely gets a lot more use out of the fastball and the changeup. And that fastball with that natural two-seam action on it that runs it away. Just at the last minute, you can always see the catcher reach to his right as it runs away from a right-handed batter. Center field and deep, and it's going to be over the head of Pilar, up against the 420 sign, and Betts, in his first at bat of the night, is flying into third.
What a player, Mookie Betts. He hits a triple into the triangle here at Fenway Park, and Brian Borucki fell behind, and that's something he's going to have to avoid against this good lineup. You got to pitch ahead. Second triple of the season, and this is a ball hit into the deepest part of Fenway Park. The triangle out there, 420 feet away. Pilar plays it off the wall, and watch Betts. He knows it's two for sure. Once he sees it over the head of Pilar, he really turns it on and never hesitated around second, just peeks over his shoulder, and he ends up at third with a leadoff triple.
So the Red Sox in business right off the bat here in the bottom of the first. The Blue Jays will play it even with the bag in the corners, backed up the middle. Betts with very good speed at third. Brock Holt is the number 2 hitter tonight, playing second base. Solarte goes over for a look, but it's back into the seats.
Well, this is a tough situation with Brock Holt at the plate. As a team, the Red Sox only strike out 19.7% of the time. That's the lowest strikeout rate in the majors. Brock Holt himself is a tough customer to strike out. Blue Jays got him twice last night, which is really unusual.
So impressive to be a team that is as productive as they are, hits for the power that they do, yet they strike out less often than any other team in baseball.
Yeah, and they're really good with 2 strikes. Alex Cora and his bench coach Ron Renicky keeping a close eye on Borucki, getting their first look at the lefty. But these are the situations. Borucki's had some rough innings, and it's not unusual. Starters like Price, like Porcello, veteran starters, they have adjustments in the first inning as well, and we've seen that with Borucki in his first 3 starts.
And strike 3 called, and no argument from Brock Holt. Out number 1. Well, he's had some hiccups in the first inning, but what he's done, Buck, although these numbers, you're going to see this first inning ERA, and it's going to kind of jump out at you. It says 6. That means 2 runs in 3 innings, in 3 first innings. But he's done a pretty good job minimizing the damage and then pitching very well after that.
Yeah, and he has done this in the past. We mentioned against Detroit, he gave up 4 consecutive 1-out singles, but minimized the damage by getting a double play. He allowed just 1 run in that first inning. He doesn't get rattled.
J.D. Martinez, the batter.
Despite the fact he's given up this triple, he's thinking about a way to get out of this inning without allowing a run. He is very good at separating the previous bat to the next one.
Blue Jays backed up around the infield now, conceding the run on a ground ball to anybody. Against a guy who's had a tremendous year, 28 homers, 79 RBIs for the free agent acquisition, J.D. Martinez. He's got more home runs this year than any Boston Red Sox player had all of last year. Betts led the team last year with 24. Martinez has 28 already. And a ground ball to short. Coming home, Gurriel, and it skips past Martin. A gutsy play by Gurriel, but if the throw is on the fly, they get him.
Yeah, they sure do. And he has instincts. We talked about his instincts in the game last night, and he saw the ball was hit right to him. And he kind of handcuffed Russell. He one-hopped it to the plate. But if he airmails that throw, they're going to get Betts out. But at the same time, the Blue Jays have decided to concede a run and take the out. And Gurriel just instinctively says, I got a shot at him. And had it been a good throw, he would have been out. But When the manager plays the defense back, you've got to stick by that percentage and say, okay, in the first inning at Fenway, I'm going to take an out. The manager has decided to concede the run, and you've got to follow suit, even though that ball was hit right at you.
Fielder's choice E6 as the run scores, and it's 1-0 Boston. And Xander Bogaerts is the batter.
When managers come here to Fenway Park, they're thinking about staying away from the crooked numbers. And that's what John Gibbons was thinking there. After a triple to lead off the game, you concede you're going to score a run. Boston's going to score a run, and John Gibbons had decided to play the infield back against the best RBI guy in the league. Take the out.
Remember, it was defense that opened the floodgates against J. Happ in the 4th inning last night. 3 separate plays that could have, maybe should have been made, that weren't made, that allowed the Red Sox to score 5 runs, and that was, of course, the difference in the game.
Yeah, and that's the kind of club the Red Sox are. They can take advantage of any little cracks in your defense, and they did it last night. And then you had that terrific at bat by Mookie Betts against J. Happ, and he eventually hit that grand slam.
Martinez not really a threat at first. 2 stolen bases, and now Baraki steps off. Red Sox as a team run a lot and run successfully, but Martinez not really among them. Inside, 3 balls and a strike. So Baraki having to work hard. It all started with a Mookie Betts triple, then a big strikeout of Holt. But an error on Gurriel allows a run to score. Martinez reaches, so still just 1 out, and Baraki behind on Bogaerts. Full count. Baraki made 13 starts at AAA Buffalo this year, 6-5 with an ERA of 3.27. He started last year at Single-A Dunedin, eventually promoted to Double-A, and then finished out the season at AAA. Here he is middle of the next year pitching in the big leagues. Runner not going, and a swing and a miss by Bogaerts. 2 down.
Baraki's got a lot of confidence in his changeup. As you can see right there, he threw it with 2 strikes, and Bogaerts with a wild swing. He's got a very good delivery, and he sells that changeup very effectively. There's a little bit of a late movement down and away from the right-handed hitters. So he picks up his 2nd strikeout. But again, just 24 years old, and the ability to say, okay, I get an out and I'm out of it, instead of saying, man, I've already given up a run. How many am I going to give up?
And we probably can't say this enough. 4 starts in the big leagues, and he's faced Houston, the Yankees, and the Red Sox in 3 of those 4. Detroit in the other one, but really 3 of the best lineups in baseball in his first 4 starts in the big leagues. Mitch Moreland, the first baseman for the Red Sox, hitting .282 with 11 homers. Normally you'd probably see Steve Pearce in the lineup somewhere tonight with Baraki, a left-hander, on the mound, but remember, Pearce, the former Blue Jay, got drilled just above the ankle, inadvertently of course, by J. Happ last night. Pearce, and it looked painful, it sounded painful last night, and Pearce is not in the lineup tonight. There's that breaking ball as it gets away from Martin, and into second goes Martinez.
Again, another opportunity for the Red Sox, and they take advantage of it. That ball just squirted away from Russell far enough for J.D. Martinez to advance. Take a look at the breaking ball, and Russell just whiffed on it. It was a ball in the air, and it could be a ball that Russell could have caught, but he tried to backhand it. It is a pass ball charged to Martin, his 3rd pass ball of the season.
And a bouncer to the right side. Big hop for Travis onto Morales at first, and that's all for the Red Sox. Mookie Betts starts it with a triple, and at the end of an inning, Boston's got a 1-0 lead.
Into My Blue Jays and enter the code MBJ7068 to earn My Blue Jays points for watching the broadcast. The entry box can be found on your My Blue Jays homepage, and the code must be entered by 4 a.m. As Dan talked about, scary scene for Pierce last night, taking a J-hap pitch off the left shin early in the game. Now, the x-rays were negative. Pierce today told reporters his hope is to be available for tomorrow's day game. So, Dan, some good news there.
All right, Arash, thank you. Teams always, this time of year, they played a little bit cautiously heading into the All-Star break. So Pierce will probably try to get back into the lineup, but it wouldn't be surprising if Alex Cora says, you know what, let's just give you an extra couple of days. Then you got the All-Star break, and J-Hap felt badly about it, tried to apologize to Pierce as he was coming off the field that half inning. Happ, of course, on his way to Washington, D.C. for the All-Star game. He is the Blue Jay representative. The All-Star game coming up on Tuesday night. Kendrys Morales leading off the second for the Blue Jays. Homered last night, his 11th of the season. And the shift is on, of course, for the Red Sox with just one infielder on the left side. The outfielder is pretty much straight away against Morales. Fights off a high fastball. But when Porcello's on with the mix of pitches and his ability to go inside and outside, up and down, he could really make a hitter change his eye level. He doesn't let you lock in on just one thing.
No, and it's something that he has developed the last couple of years where he's utilized more high pitches in the zone, whether it's a fastball, he'll throw a cutter up there from time to time. When he first came up as a 20-year-old with the Tigers, he worked down in the zone a lot. He had a great sinking fastball, an overhand curveball. He won 14 games for Detroit in 2009, coming right out of A-ball.
That's foul. There aren't many, I mean, there aren't many 20-year-olds who play in the big leagues at all, but there are even fewer, obviously, who are full-time regular starting pitchers at the age of 20, and that's what he was.
Yeah, and you go back to Doc Gooden and guys like that who came up early on and were so dominant. But Porcello, to win 14 games in your rookie season is a pretty good accomplishment. Plus, he made 31 starts. I mean, he was a regular starter in that rotation, and he would go on to win double-digit wins for 6 straight years with the Tigers.
But a pretty durable guy in his 10 years in the big leagues. And that's outside ball 4, a leadoff walk to Morales.
Tried to cut that fastball up and on the outside corner and got away from him, and he walks Morales.
Now Russell Martin. Martin hitting 170 on the season. A long look down to Luis Rivera at third.
Well, this is the one thing the Blue Jays can't do in very many spots in their order. They just can't play hit and run. Morales doesn't run well. Russell hasn't been able to make consistent contact. So the combination not a good one for the Blue Jays playing any kind of running game. And I think that's the one thing that the Blue Jays have on their mind is getting more speed in the lineup, more athleticism, cut down the strikeouts. And when you look at this Red Sox team, that's the type of team that you're going to have to win in the East.
And you could start to see that in the system. We talked last night about Jonathan Davis being promoted to AAA, a center fielder with a lot of speed who had been at New Hampshire. Bo Bichette has a lot of speed. He's among leaders in the Eastern League in stolen bases.
Vladdy Guerrero Jr. played in a game today down in Dunedin in the Gulf Coast League and went 1 for 3. He scored a run and walked. So that process is underway now as far as getting him back to active duty and placing him in the system.
And the Blue Jays say they don't know where he's going to wind up, meaning that there was a report out that he was going to be headed to Buffalo as soon as he was healthy enough that they were comfortable that he was back. And the Blue Jays say that is not confirmed. They have not decided where they're going to send him yet. I think they want to see how he swings the bat coming back from the injury.
Sure.
There's no reason to commit until you see how the knee responds. Obviously, they're going to be careful with their top prospect, not only with their top prospect, as Martin walks with the top prospect in the game. This is Very unusual for Rick Porcello. We talked about the great command that he's got. Just 27 walks in 19 starts this year. Now he walks 2 in a row to start the second.
Yeah, the most he's walked in a game this season has been 3. He's done that 4 different starts, but he's got 2 walks to start this inning.
So the Blue Jays down to 1-0. Have been given an opportunity here in the second inning. 2 on with nobody out for Kevin Pillar. Went 0 for 4 last night, hitting .240 on the season. Breaking ball down and away, 1-0.
Yeah, you really have to be selective now against Porcello, who's all of a sudden lost the strike zone. So if you're Kevin Pillar, you have to have an idea. Okay, I got to get a pitch that I can drive right now. I'm not going to swing at a borderline pitch that might be a strike. I got to hit something I can drive.
Drives this one to left field. JD Martinez back, and it's over his head. Kendrys Morales getting the wave around third. He will come in to score. Martin to third on a double by Pillar that has tied the game.
Yeah, and that's exactly the pitch that you want to swing at in that situation. After back-to-back walks to start the inning, Porcello missed with the first pitch to Pillar and then came back with a breaking ball. And Kevin hammers it over JD Martinez's head in left field. Russell Martin did a heck of a job of reading the ball off the bat. He never hesitated, and he's off and running on contact. He saw that Martinez wasn't going to make a play on it. And Russell breezes over to third as Morales comes in to score the first run for the Blue Jays.
RBI number 34 on the season for Pillar. Tie game, second and third, still nobody out. And here's Dwight Smith Jr., who was just called back to the major leagues today. And he's up there swinging at the first pitch, lifts a fly ball to left field, drifting back. Martinez makes the catch. Both runners are going to tag in advance. Coming in to score Martin on his way to third, Pillar, and the sac fly has given the Blue Jays the lead.
Boy, what a heads-up play by Kevin Pillar. First of all, he knows that JD Martinez has been the DH most of the season, and he could see that he was struggling to get underneath it. So Pillar's tagging, and watch Martinez in the outfield. He has all kinds of trouble getting underneath this ball. He kept moving and circling and moving and circling, and Pillar made note of that, and he moves over to third base as Martin comes in to score. Well, that's a big 90 feet for the Blue Jays.
Dwight Smith productive in his first plate appearance since coming back. And the Blue Jays now have a 2-1 lead. The roster move, by the way, is Marco Estrada was placed on the DL, which is really not that big of a deal. They can do it retroactively. He wasn't going to pitch before the All-Star game anyway. They still hope he can take his first turn out of the All-Star break. They just get another body for the next 3 days. And with Teoscar Hernandez, a late scratch with a sore heel, Dwight Smith moved into the starting lineup and picks up an RBI.
Yeah, and Smith has done nothing but impress with the bat ever since he's come up. He's done a nice job, and he's just one of those guys that hits. He hasn't hit much in the minor leagues this year. But boy, when he gets to the big leagues, he swings the bat. He was hitting .249 at AAA Buffalo. But he's got 4 doubles, a home run, and 5 ribbies now with the Blue Jays.
He's a career, small sample size alert, 57 at bats, but he's a career .333 hitter in the major leagues, 19 for 57. He's a bright lights kind of guy. 2-2 the count on Travis. Excuse me, 3-1 on Devin Travis. Infield is in. Yep.
This is a big at bat for Travis. Blue Jays need this run in.
And the walk, the third surrendered this inning by Porcello.
Well, that was a good take by Devin. He had a 4-hit game last night, and he probably feels pretty good at the plate, but he laid off that breaking ball. And Dana Lavangi, the pitching coach, out to have a chat with Porcello, and we talked about 3 walks in a game. It's his season high, the 5th time he's done that this year.
Blue Jays might have caught a break on that pitch. Pretty good looking pitch, but when you're not around the zone, sometimes you don't get the borderline calls. Third start this season for Porcello against the Blue Jays. Pretty good numbers in the first 2.
Pillar's at third. Travis is at first. That cast is powered by AWS. And back to the top of the order already, Curtis Granderson.
Who hit a fly ball to center field his first time up. 2 runs in, first and third, 1 out. And a strike. Granderson a long look down to Luis Rivera. Whatever Rivera signaled to the plate, he verbally reinforced to Pilar at third. Blue Jays could get a little tricky here if they wanted to with this combination, as he takes another strike, and it's 0-2. Shift on, so a lot of room on the left side. And we saw Solarte exploit that in the first inning with a base hit through that vacated shortstop hole. And if you're Granderson, you're just choking up, trying to make contact and trying to bring that run home. Yeah, he did, says home plate umpire Brian Gorman, and that's a big second out.
Again, we talk about how many outs there are top of the zone, and this pitch is up high. Granderson tried the layoff, went around too far for the strikeout. But Porcello profiles as a guy that's going to work downstairs, but he too is bought into the fact that there are a lot of outs up in the strike zone. Everybody's looking down, especially against a guy like Porcello, who traditionally has thrown a lot of two-seam fastballs.
So 2 down, and here's Lourdes Gurriel Jr. hit a ground ball to short his first time up. Into center field, and that'll get down for a base hit. Pilar will come in to score. To second is Travis, and it is 3-1 for the Blue Jays.
Well, if you don't like Lourdes Gurriel, you're not watching, because he comes up with something every single game. You go, wow, that was a good at bat. Now he steps to the plate with 2 outs and Pilar at third base and jumps all over the first pitch and drills it right back into center. The pitch was out, might have been off the plate outside, but he's thinking about the opportunity to drive in a run. That's a big run for the Blue Jays to get that 3rd run here in the 2nd inning.
He didn't pull off it, didn't try to hit it 9 miles. Lined it back into center for a base hit in his last 9 starts. So this excludes coming into the game later, pinch hitting or anything like that. In his last 9 starts, Buck, Gurriel's now hitting .353. Solarte first pitch swinging, and Bogarts has it and has time to make the play, and that'll be all. But the Blue Jays take advantage of the wildness by Rick Porcello, and they come up with a couple of clutch hits, including an RBI double to left field by Kevin Pilar, his 26th double of the season, and the Blue Jays have a 3-1 lead.
Before the series opener, that Ryan Borucki walked up the top step of the visitors' dugout and stood for a while to soak in what is his first Fenway experience. Borucki said he has some excitement for the start, but beyond that, the 24-year-old carries a calmness on the mound. Wasn't like that in his early seasons in pro ball, a teenager navigating the waters of the game, but then he realized the less emotion he shows on the bump, the more of an edge he gets. Borucki understood that even if he gave up a couple of runs, he wanted to show opponents that it didn't rattle him. He said teams pick up on that, and quote, hitters are like sharks. They'll smell blood. They'll come right after you. So Borucki tries to keep it as even keeled and relaxed as he can. And John Gibbons says, Dan, he's on a mission.
It's a ground ball to the right side. Travis having a race to his left, comes up with it and feeds Morales just in time to get Eduardo Nunez. Good play by Travis.
And Travis understands that this Red Sox lineup, every one of them busted out of the box, and they really hustle, they run hard, so it puts a lot of pressure on the defense. Look how far Travis has to run to his left to field this ball, and watch Nunez. He's busting it up the line. Puts a lot of pressure on Travis and on Kendrys Morales. So anytime you see a player that just jogs up the line, you got to wonder. The infielders, they know who runs and who doesn't, and everybody in this Red Sox lineup runs.
Sam Travis, the batter now for the Red Sox. Called up to the big leagues today. He's DHing tonight. As Buck mentioned, Andrew Benintendi is on the bereavement list, was placed on the bereavement list today. So Travis called up. Again, Pierce not available. They may have been looking for a right-handed bat, knowing a lefty was on the mound tonight in Baraki. Travis's AAA number is not very good, just 224, but the last 9 or 10 games he had been over 300.
Isn't that something? You hit 224 in the major leagues and you get called in the manager's office. In the past, you might have been worried about being sent to AA.
Well, you know, it's funny. The Blue Jays have a case like that as well. A guy we just talked about. Devin Travis only hit 210 when he went down to Buffalo. He was hitting 148 in the big leagues, hit 210 in Buffalo. And he's come back and he's hitting like 290 since he got back to the major leagues.
The difference between Travis and Travis, if you will, the Red Sox Travis doesn't have the major league experience that Devin Travis had, and he's hit well in his career.
A little bit low for ball 4. You know, Arash's point about Baraki's an interesting one. We talk about skills and adjustments and tools and physical stuff, but being able to block things out and keep it simple and so forth, that's a skill. That's a necessary thing that you either have or you need to acquire if you're going to be successful.
And Arash made a very good point about the fact of presentation. The presentation pitcher gives you on the mound says a lot to the hitters.
Hit and run on.
And you can see Baraki wears 56 because his idol is Mark Burley. Baraki grew up in the north side of Chicago. He was a big White Sox fan, and he loved to watch Mark Burley pitch. Well, he reminds you a lot of Burley because he worked quickly, and there's no emotion, no expression whatsoever on the mound. So the hitters, they don't know. Maybe this guy thinks he's really good.
Ground ball to short. Tricky hop in and out of the glove of Gurriel. And you could see off the bat that one had the potential to be trouble, and everybody is safe.
And Gurriel did exactly what he was supposed to do, come after that ball, but he got in between and got a short hop. He swiped at it, and the ball bounced off his glove. It'll be another error for Gurriel, his second of the ball game, his third of the season. He made a bad decision in the first inning when he tried to throw out Mookie Betts, scoring from third base, and handcuff Russell Martin for a throwing error.
So first and second, one out for the number 9 hitter, Jackie Bradley Jr. You know, it'll be interesting just to keep an eye on Gurriel the rest of the night. You have a couple of plays like he's had early. We know he's talented. We know he's confident. But does he get rattled at all, or does he continue to make plays, play his game, and, you know, be able to separate what just happened from what he has to do going forward?
Now, I'm going to bet that he doesn't get rattled. When you consider growing up in Cuba and defecting and hiding out and waiting a year to play baseball, I mean, he's been through a lot. I don't think a couple of errors in a ball game are going to make him cower or lose confidence by any means. He's a special young guy.
And a base hit into center field for Bradley. Travis getting the wave. Pillar's throw coming through, and again it skips by Martin on a bounce. Hit the umpire behind him. The run scores, and the other 2 runners advance.
Kevin Pillar made a good throw, a strong throw from center field. Travis was coming around third. Carlos Fabulous, the Red Sox third baseman, had given go ahead. And watch this throw. It's true, it's on line, and it's a little bit of a short hop. You can see It didn't bounce very far in front of Russell Martin. He's got good position, but it skips over his glove, and they had a shot at Travis if he could come up with that short hop.
And because the runners advanced, you got to assess an error on somebody. Did Pilar get stuck with an error? Yeah, Pilar was charged with an error on that play. That's the third error committed in the game by the Blue Jays. And all you had to do was watch last night's game to know you just can't give this team in this ballpark that many opportunities.
But you see, Baraki comes right back and throws a strike to Mookie Betts. 3 errors already committed for Pilar. That's his 5th error of the season. Gurriel's committed the other 2.
Infield is back for the Blue Jays. Betts tripled and scored in the first. Blue Jays 3, Red Sox 2. Now the scoreboard here is only showing 2 errors on the Blue Jays, but unless they've reversed a call and we haven't been told about it yet, it should be 3.
Yeah, they just haven't put it up on the scoreboard yet. It is 3 errors.
A little bit inside, 1 and 2 on Betts. And again, another test of the composure of a young pitcher when plays aren't being made behind him and he's got to get extra outs. High drive, deep left center, and it is in play. It bounces to Smith, backing up Pilar. Mookie Betts has another triple, his 2nd of the game, and the Red Sox have the lead.
Mookie Betts started the game with a triple. He hit that one to the triangle in right center. This one he hits just to the left of that yellow line out in center field, high on the green monster. Kevin Pilar just runs out of room. It's high above that green monster. If it hits to the right of that yellow line, it's a home run. But Mookie Betts motoring around the bases, slides in headfirst with his 2nd triple of the game in the first 2 innings.
Done a lot of running already here tonight. And I know we seem to say it a lot when you do a Red Sox game, but man, this guy is special. He's only 25 years old. It's Alex Cora. I think he might be wondering if the ball hit to the right of the yellow line, because if the ball hit to the right of that yellow vertical line, it's a home run.
Yeah, and that's the line there. And Cora is out talking to the home plate umpire, but here's the ball that Betts hits, and let's see if we can see where it hits on that green monster. And it appeared to hit just to the left of that yellow line, but the umpires are going to meet and talk it over now. And they have the ability to converse, and they're going to go look at the replay. That wall out there in center field at the point of that yellow line, the wall behind it goes away from the field.
Right. It would bounce in a different direction, you would think, if it hit to the right. Looks like it hit right at the base of it and either on it or just to the left. Mookie Betts 5'9", 180, a 5th round pick, and leading the major leagues in batting average, slugging percentage, and OPS. The runner-up for MVP 2 years ago to Mike Trout. Didn't have quite as good a year last year. And he does stay at 3rd. It's not a home run. And obviously Mike Trout's having a phenomenal season for the Angels, but so is Mookie Betts, and he's got a chance to win himself an MVP this year.
Well, he sure does. And when you think about it, it's his 2nd career game with 2 triples in a game, and he's had 2 triples in his first 2 at-bats tonight. He drove in 5 last night with a grand slam.
So it's 4-3 Red Sox, and the infield is in for the Blue Jays, and Brock Holt squeaks one through the left side for a base hit to bring in Betts, and it's now 5-3.
Baraki made a good pitch on Brock Holt. We told you how difficult Holt is to strike out. He struck out for a 3rd time in this series in his first at bat. Called out on strikes. This time he gets jammed. Pitch is inside. He just fights it off and flares it past Solarte at third. The infield is drawn in, but he hits it in a perfect spot. And Mookie Betts, he was holding to make sure it was through the left side, and he comes in to score for the second time tonight.
J.D. Martinez. So a 4-run inning. There have been 2 errors committed this inning by the Blue Jays, 3 on the night. There's also been a pass ball. And it has just been a very, very sloppy start to this game in the field for the Blue Jays. Really the 3rd game in a row where they haven't played great defense.
Now, and you know, you come into this situation and everybody knows how good the Red Sox are, but you'd hope that your team would really dig down deep and muster good effort. But so far it's been sloppy defense and giving the Red Sox opportunities, and they've made the most of it. You know, the All-Star break is coming up, and you just hope that Blue Jays aren't thinking about the 4 days off instead of competing in this series.
Driven to right center field. Back is Pilar to make the catch, and Holt's going to bluff a start to force a throw and then retreat to first. 2 down. You know, and remember that we don't know for sure who's starting the game tomorrow. What happens tonight may play into tomorrow, and it could be Sam Gaviglio. John Gibbons strongly suggested it would be Gaviglio, but it hasn't been announced officially. Remember, Gaviglio got knocked out early in the second game of the Atlanta series on Wednesday through 48 pitches, so he would be back on 2 days rest to start the game. And obviously, given that situation, he would need help out of the bullpen. You got to believe Joe Biagini's not available tonight after he got 7 outs last night. Baracchi obviously deserves a better fate than he's gotten tonight. He's given up some hard hit balls, but he doesn't deserve to have thrown 45 pitches and be down 5-3 right now. Marco Estrada on the left, as we mentioned earlier, was placed on the DL today, more of an administrative move because he's not going to pitch until after the All-Star break. Blue Jays hoping to get Estrada back, hoping to get Aaron Sanchez back, hoping to get Ryan Tepera back after the break.
Tepera through a side session today, and it really went well. Everybody's encouraged about his progress, and they felt very confident that he's up to speed now. Just a matter of maybe getting him in a game or two over the All-Star break and then getting him back. But his side session was a very good one this afternoon.
The 2-1 to Xander Bogaerts is sent foul off to the right. Bogaerts struck out on a changeup away from Baracchi in the first inning. He's the 8th Red Sox batter to come to the plate here in the second. The breaking ball fouled off.
Yeah, Baracchi in his 4th big league start has seen some good teams. The Astros, the Yankees, and now the Red Sox, 3 of the 4 teams he's pitched against so far. Yeah, but you're pitching in the big leagues. You're going to face good hitters every single night.
They throw behind him with a runner going, and it gets past Morales. And the troubles in the field continue for the Blue Jays as Holt comes around to third.
Well, they had guessed right because the runner was taking off, and Holt goes on first move. Baracchi's throw to Morales. Morales was trying to close ground and get himself in position to make a throw to second, and he missed the ball.
So that is the 4th error committed. This one is charged to Baracchi on the throw. The 4th error committed tonight by the Blue Jays in a game that is in the 2nd inning. And it's going to cost him again. Lined off the monster. Holt comes in to score. On a long single by Bogarts that makes it 6-3.
Well, the Blue Jays committing 4 errors for a second time this season. They also had a 4-error game against Oakland on the 20th of May. And it's just been a bad night in the field for the Blue Jays. And it puts pressure on the pitcher trying to locate everything perfectly, trying to come inside, and that ball is about belt high. Bogarts hammers it off the green monster for another RBI.
So the 9th batter to come to the plate this inning is Mitch Moreland. He grounded out to end the first. The Blue Jays have now committed 7 errors in their last 3 games, after committing 7 in their prior 14 games. Two of them on Gurriel, one on Pilar, and one on Baraki. And Luis Santos starting to throw. This is the last thing you wanted to see for Baraki or for the team as a whole, given the relative uncertainty for tomorrow. And it's a day game. But you can run through your staff in a hurry playing the Red Sox, especially when you're giving them extra outs.
Yeah, they are such a good hitting team, and they're so confident right now. They're riding a 10-game win streak. Everybody in the lineup has contributed during this win streak. And you look at some of the numbers over the course of those 10 games, there aren't any outs in this lineup. You've got to make good pitches, and then when you do make good pitches, you got to catch it.
I think it's one of the most underrated aspects when you think back to the 2 teams that made it to the postseason in 15 and 16. They were a good defensive team, especially in 15. I think they were a really good defensive team. And the Blue Jays of 2017 and 18 have not been nearly as good defensively.
No, not at all. And that's a big part of the game. You got to catch it.
Ball 4. Baraki trying to catch his breath, compose himself, deal with what's going on here. Some of it his own doing. That just walked a batter. He's committed a throwing error. First and second, 2 down, 5 runs in, 6-3 Boston. And Eduardo Nunez bats for the second time here in the second inning. Boy, and they had just gotten 3 in the top of the second.
Yeah.
And one thing the Blue Jays have really not been good at this year is the so-called shutdown inning. You get some, then go back out, shut down the other team. Don't let them back in the game. That has been a weak point for the Blue Jays this year. Travis with some funny spin on that ball stays with it, and finally the bottom of the second it comes to a close. Nunez makes 2 outs in the inning, but it's a rough one for the Blue Jays.
The Rays will replace Corey Kluber. Charlie Morton of the Astros takes Aroldis Chapman's spot on the American League roster. Home Run Derby goes Monday. The All-Star Game Tuesday on Sportsnet from Washington. Guys.
And we are looking forward to being there and doing the game that can be seen on Sportsnet on Tuesday night. As Justin Smoak leads off the third, it means in all likelihood we'll need to fit about 60 players in our scorebook on Tuesday night. Each team I think has 32 All-Stars. We won't see all of them in the game, but we'll see the vast majority of them.
Yeah, there's probably still going to be a couple more substitutions as players either pitch on the weekend and you have to replace them with a more active pitcher. Corey Kluber's been replaced too on the roster, and Zach Greinke was just added to the National League roster. So Blake Snell, he's had an all-star worthy first half for sure.
And he's going now. Smoak takes down and in. Not all-star news, but a guy who's been an all-star on a number of occasions in his career made some news today. Chase Utley announced that he's retiring at the end of the season.
Boy, he's had a heck of a career. And I think there's a guy that if you're starting to think about a manager, oh, this one's hit hard.
Justin Smoak, deep right center. Did he get enough to get it out of here? You betcha. Smoak with his 5th career home run off Rick Porcello. And it's a 2-run game.
Now he's moving up the leaderboard on home runs against Porcello. That ties him with Brad Miller for 5 career home runs against the Red Sox righty. Only Jose Bautista has hit more. Jose has 6 home runs against Porcello. And this was a long one into the bullpen of the Red Sox, trying to come upstairs and miss down. And Smokey's a good low ball hitter. And you make a mistake down in the zone, he's going to hit it hard, especially right now the way he's swinging the bat.
That's a shot. That's about 390, 395 to the fence there. And he hit it into the Red Sox bullpen. So it's 6-4. Number 15 on the season for Smoak. He's got 6 in his last 13 games right now. And over the last couple of weeks, he's looked a lot like the Justin Smoak of 2017.
At 38 last year, he's up to 15 now. There's the numbers Dan was talking about. 6 homers in his last 13 games. He is ready. He is locked and loaded, anxious to get on that fastball, and he's been squaring them up.
Feels like it could be one of those Fenway nights, doesn't it?
Back and forth, yeah. Back and forth. Somebody's got to put up some zeros.
You know, you saw the look on the face of John Gibbons there. Sometimes you don't hit. Sometimes your pitchers get hit hard. It happens. But when you're sloppy in the field, I think that upsets a manager about as much as anything, because it just looks so bad.
And they're basically all kind of routine plays. You know, Gurriel made a bad throw to the plate, and then he had a tough hop. The short hop was a tough play. That was a do or die play, and he didn't come up with it. Pilar, he gets the toughest error of the night in my mind. He made a good throw to home plate, and the ball got away from Russell Martin and allowed the runners on base to move up 90 feet.
Meanwhile, 4th walk given up by Porcello already. 2nd time he's walked Morales. And here's Martin, who walked and scored his first time up. And outside for ball 1.
Got to make him throw strikes, that's for sure. We saw this with Kevin Pilar in his first at bat. Porcello had walked Morales and Martin, and Pilar on a 1-0 pitch hit a double off the wall.
Now Moreland, the first baseman, not exactly holding Morales on. He's playing about 3 feet off the bag in towards the infield, as you can see, as it's inside 2 balls and a strike. He's trying to cover up some of that hole on the right side.
Well, because Morales is not a threat to run, by playing where he is, Moreland gives himself more range at first base. He's off the line, and he'll break to his right when the pitch is on its way.
And a ground ball through the right side, a base hit for Martin. Morales up to 2nd on the play. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. Jose Ramirez has driven in his 68th run on the season tonight. The Yankees are 3.5 back of the Red Sox for top spot in the American League East, and the Blue Jays back within 2 with the Red Sox in this game tonight after the home run from Justin Smoak.
Well, that's a pretty shot from right field. Mookie Betts has a bead on him, but he's going to run out of room as that ball hits into the Red Sox bullpen. And Mookie says, wish I could have caught it. It's not going to come back, Mookie.
That makes it 6-4, and the Blue Jays with 2 men on and still nobody out here in the third. For Kevin Pillar, who lined it double to left field his first time up. Pillar down to 7th in the lineup tonight. We've seen a lot of 6 and even more of 5 at times this year for Pillar, but he has cooled off after a hot start, and he's down in the 7 hole in the lineup tonight. Into left center field. That ball is down, and it's going to get all the way to the wall. Morales will come in to score. Getting the wave around third is Martin. There will be no throw. Pillar's second double of the night, and this crazy game is tied.
It's already the third inning, Dan. Going to be one of those nights. You were right on the money about that. Kevin Pillar had an RBI his first time up, hit a double, and now he's going to cash in 2. Russell Martin did a heck of a job of busting it around the bases. Morales is going to score, but look at Martin. Full speed into third. Louis Rivera gives him the go-ahead, and he comes in all the way from first base to score. Pillar with 3 ribbies. Third time Pillar has driven in 3 this season. That's his season high.
Among the league leader in doubles now with 27. Here's Dwight Smith Jr. Swung at the first pitch his last time up, hit a sac fly in his return to the big leagues. 6-6 in the third. The Blue Jays out hitting the Red Sox 6-5, but the Blue Jays have committed 4. Count them, 4 errors already today. And activity now with the Boston bullpen. Right-hander Hector Velasquez is up. He was last seen in the previous series, the Texas series. He started on what was kind of a bullpen day for the Red Sox, but he's been down for a couple of days now, so he's ready to go. And Alex Cora might need some long relief tonight. Inside corner, a strike, 2-1.
Porcello has created problems for himself. A season high 4 walks. 3 of them have come in to score.
Close but no. 3-1 on Smith, with Devin Travis waiting on deck.
If he gets a fastball out over the plate right now, he's going to hit it hard. He's had an opportunity to see a lot of pitches, and Porcello's trying to crowd him with that fastball, but Smith can hit the fastball. He can hit it hard. He's got 5 extra bases this season.
He does hit it hard down the right field line, and it's fair. It's gone. A home run for Dwight Smith, and the Blue Jays have the lead.
Every time we have seen Dwight Smith Jr. in the big leagues, he hits the ball hard. And it's really hard to imagine he hit 246 in AAA. But that was a bullet just inside the pesky pole down the right field line. And the Blue Jays are going to knock Rick Porcello out of this game.
Hope nobody had anywhere to go tonight, because we're just getting going here at Fenway Park. It is 8-6 Blue Jays in the top of the third. Welcome back to the big leagues, Dwight Smith Jr. And it's an early walk to the showers for Rick Porcello. A 5-run third inning and counting. Velasquez coming on in for the Red Sox. The Blue Jays with an 8-6 lead. At least Dwight Smith Jr. right after Buck Martinez said if he's going to get a fastball, he's going to hit it hard. And he hit it hard. The only question was, could he keep it fair? And he did.
He sure did. 111 miles off the bat, 111 miles an hour off the bat. And Dwight Smith Jr. has 3 ribbies tonight. That's his 2nd home run this season. Hit a home run earlier at Rogers Center against Nick Tropiano of the Angels. That was back in May. Now Blue Jays will get another look at Hector Velasquez making his 28th appearance. Look at his win-loss record. He is 6-0 with a very good ERA. And he is in trying to put out the fire. How about the scoreboard out there in left field? A couple of 5 spots on that thing.
That hand-operated scoreboard, parts of it. Although they do the line score for this game from inside the monster. There's Devin Travis, and he'll take a strike. 5 runs in this inning. And still nobody out. The 5 in yellow means that the inning is still ongoing. We talk about your crooked numbers. Travis walked his first time up. And a ground ball backhanded by Bogarts at short, 1 down. We just heard a bit of a sarcastic kind of, if I can say, Bronx cheer here in Boston.
Yeah. First out of the inning, everybody was celebrating the fact. Blue Jays with 2 home runs, 5 runs. Ryan Barucki has the lead, and he's given up 6 runs on 5 hits.
Yeah, here's the bad news. They've committed 4 errors. He's committed 1 of them. He's given up 6 runs. The good news is somehow he's got the lead right now.
Yeah, he could pick up his first win.
Curtis Granderson's 0 for 2.
But this is Fenway Park. This is what it does. You don't leave early here at Fenway Park. Game's not over until you're in the clubhouse eating your 2nd sandwich.
Check swing foul off. Look out in the on deck circle. Lourdes Gurriel.
And the bat boy. They were both scrambling to get out of the way.
Yankees down 4-0 to the Indians in the 4th.
That is not a concern because the Indians bullpen is horrible.
Yeah.
And they were coughing it up again last night.
They got to be getting somebody.
Yeah.
Or somebodies before July 31st. Funny, last 2 years, as good a bullpen as there's been in the game.
Yeah. They had a major league best bullpen last year, but this year their ERA is 5.39. And because of that, last night, Terry Francona pushed Coy Kluber back out for the 8th inning. And he gave up 2 runs. But the Yankees bullpen, a .268 earned runners average, so you're not going to score against the Yankees late. So the Yankee offense, of course, they can score against anybody. You know one thing about the Indians? Their record is 15-23 against teams that are currently over 500. So the good teams have been wearing them out.
But they've been wearing out their own division, which is by far the weakest in baseball. But they've got one thing going for them nobody else in baseball really has. They can be relatively certain they're not going to have to play in a wild card game. Not that they're assuming they're going to win the division or anything like that, but you know, the Yankees and Red Sox, as good as they are, they're going to battle on the appeal. Yeah, it sure looked like he did. Granderson strikes out for the 2nd time.
The diverse Civic family, our most powerful lineup yet. Honda, proud fan since 1977 and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Here at Fenway Park in Boston, Dan Shulman, Buck Martinez, Arash Madani, and a wild one. Blue Jays 8, Red Sox 6 in the 3rd. And here's Lourdes Gurriel Jr., 1 for 2, had an RBI single his last time up.
Average up to 252. He doesn't really profile as a pull hitter. He likes the ball out over the plate. He'll hit it down the right field line, but if he gets something inside that he can pull, he will turn on it.
Bouncing ball. This is going to be a long throw from 3rd, and it's in time on a bounce. Nice play by Nunez. Moreland stays with it. And Gurriel retired to win the top of the 3rd. But the Blue Jays hit 2 home runs this half inning. Justin Smoke with his 15th to get it started. And then Dwight Smith Jr. lining a 2-run shot inside the pesky pull down the right field line. And the lead has changed hands again.
Presented by Bacardi. The next one is Friday, July 20th, where there are 2 events in one night. A country music showcase before the game with the patio opening at 4:30, weather permitting. BlueJays.com for tickets for Friday fan festivals. That's when Baltimore comes to town. The latest report out of Philadelphia, Dan, the Phillies interested in both Zach Britton and Manny Machado in the same package.
Well, you got to believe the Phillies are looking for a bat. They've been a little inconsistent offensively, and they could certainly make room for Machado on the left side of the infield, whether it's third or short. Be interesting if a team really wanted Machado but wanted him as a third baseman when he's moved back to shortstop this year, and he's clearly stated he wants to be a shortstop. Now, he can't veto a trade. He's going to get traded if he gets traded.
Right.
But be interesting for a team to go and get him to play a position that he doesn't want to play as much and that he hasn't played yet this season.
I'll be anxious to talk with Manny at the All-Star game. And
there's Sam Travis, deep center field, and the beat goes on both ways here at Fenway. Travis with a leadoff double.
boy, the ball was jumping, isn't it? Going all over the ballpark tonight. So the Red Sox get a leadoff double. There have been 13 hits in this game already and 14 runs. This is the bottom of the third. Travis knows he's got a chance for extra bases when he squares it up. Hit it on the barrel, hits off the wall in center field.
Leadoff double now. Sandy Leon, the switch hitting catcher, reached on an error and scored in the 5-run bottom of the second. Each team's already had a 5-run inning in this game.
Want to finish up my thoughts. We look at Jake Petrichka loosening up for the Blue Jays as they're working again. But Manny Machado, talking to him at the All-Star game, I'm going to ask him, I said, Manny, I know you want to play shortstop. I just want to know why you think it's so important for you to play shortstop, because he's maybe the second best third baseman in baseball.
Right. To Arenado, is that who you're saying? Yeah. And his numbers, his defensive metrics, if you are better at third base, much better at third base than they were at shortstop. Yeah. But you know what? He can choose as a free agent in the offseason to go wherever he wants to go and play for a team that wants him to play shortstop. But if he gets acquired by a team and they want him to be a third baseman, obviously it's a contending team. Like, go play third base.
Yeah. Well, he said when asked during the Yankees series, he said, man, would you consider playing third base? He goes, no, I'm a shortstop. So, you know, he can't stand by his guns. If he gets traded, he's going to have to play.
Yeah. And a swing and a miss at a breaking ball in the dirt. Martin looks back, the runner at second, throw down to first to complete the out. Leon strikes out, one down. I think Zach Britton's really a tremendously interesting guy because his track record speaks for itself. He's getting healthier. He's starting to throw the ball better. That is a game-changing arm out of the bullpen, whether you install him as a closer or a co-closer or a lefty / eighth inning guy, however you want to use him. That's a great arm.
Well, and there's two teams who come to mind right off the bat. First, we just talked about Cleveland and how they need relief help. And how about the Houston Astros? You know, they got maybe the best rotation we've seen in a number of years in Houston, but they need help in the bullpen.
Jackie Bradley Jr.
The scouts I have talked to recently that have seen Britton say his stuff is back, but his command is not just there yet, and that will get better with a few more games under his belt.
Still more than 2 weeks until the deadline. And you may see players paired together in a deal because teams are so hesitant to give up the best prospects they have. Instead of it being 3 prospects for 1 good player now, it could be, okay, you want that top prospect, you got to give me this guy and that guy. And then a couple of other mid-level prospects are in there to make it look a little better. But
yeah, it's going to be interesting, and we have talked about, and I've talked to a lot of scouts and asked them, do you think it's going to be a real active trade deadline period? And they're 50-50. So, you know, there are a lot of teams that have a lot of needs, but at the same time, teams with good, deep organizations want to keep those young players.
I think we'll see a lot of relievers moved, and I'm not necessarily talking about Zach Britton level closer types, but you know, the Blue Jays have guys in Axford and Clippard and and there could be interest in any or all of those guys. I think we'll see a number of trades at that level.
Yeah, that's probably a good call. And you know what, the starting pitching depth of available starters is not that good.
Eight-6 Blue Jays, runner at second, 1 out for the Red Sox, bottom 3. And a swing and a miss. Borucki going back to the breaking ball again against the left-hand hitting Bradley, and he strikes him out.
Well, and Borucki, he's among the franchise leaders for rookies with strikeouts in their first 3 major league games. He comes into this game with 16 strikeouts in his first 3 starts, trailing only Jerry Garvin, who had an 18 in his first 3 major league starts. So Borucki now, with 4 strikeouts, has 20 starts in his first 4 major league games. 20 strikeouts in his first 4 starts.
And just trying to hang around in this one. And the intentional walk puts Mookie Betts on to bring up Brock Holt. And you can't really blame the Blue Jays for doing that in the 3rd inning after he tripled in the 1st and tripled in the 2nd and hit a grand slam and drove in 5 last night. Holt has struck out and had an RBI single.
The Red Sox as a team are very good hitting with 2 strikes. And I spoke to their hitting coach today, Tim Hires, and I said, what do you tell your hitters with 2 strikes? He said, we say you've got to give up something. You can't cover everything, so just go with what you want to do, whether you want to look for a pitch up or you want to look for a breaking ball, but you can't cover everything. So minimize the areas that you're concerned with. And I would suggest that Holt's probably looking for something outside.
And took one right down the middle. Took a fastball. May have suspected he was going to get that breaking ball that Borucki used to get Bradley. 3 strikeouts in the 3rd inning for Borucki. He walks off the mound with a lead. 8-6 Blue Jays at the end of 3.
One Blue Jay who could be on the move is Curtis Granderson, but if there's any talk about it, it won't phase the veteran. It once did quite early in his career. Granderson was with the Detroit Tigers, and there were rumors swirling, and he told himself then, I'm just getting things going, things are starting to roll. Why would they deal me? It started affecting his performance, and then the deadline came and went, and Granderson was traded nowhere. After that, Granderson made a vow to himself, never let that bother you again. He says since he's been mentioned almost every summer in trade talks and only been moved twice. And Curtis's point, if anything is going to happen, someone will tell me then. So some wisdom, Dan, from a vet who is 37 years young.
Yeah, dealt with it last year, went from the Mets to the Dodgers, struggled with the Dodgers. Didn't hit much at all for Los Angeles, but he knows if he's going somewhere, he's going to a pennant race. So that's how you, I mean, even if you don't want to get dealt or if you're worried about getting dealt, you know, one good thing about it is you are going up in the standings if you're a guy in Curtis Granderson's situation at this time of the season.
Curtis has played in 2 World Series. He played with the Tigers in 06 against the Cardinals, and then played again with the Mets against Kansas City in 2015. So he understands at this point of your career that's how you'd like to finish up.
He did not make the World Series roster for the Dodgers last year, so he's played in 2, has not won a World Series though. The older you get, the more you'd think it's about the ring, just trying to get one if you haven't gotten one. It's another interesting guy to ponder the possibilities with him heading into the trade deadline. Yangervis Solarte, and whether the Blue Jays are getting calls on him. He is not a free agent at the end of the year. He is under control for next year, I believe, with an option for 2020.
But you're right, he profiles very well as a guy that can go to a team in the race and play multiple positions. His best position in my mind is third base, but he's a switch hitter. He's got some pop, and if you needed a role player, a guy that you could move around and come off the bench maybe as a pinch hitter, he fits that bill pretty well.
And he chases down and out of the zone to strike out. Now 1 for 3 on the night. Velasquez trying to settle things down after a rough one for Rick Porcello, who was charged with 8 runs and 2+ innings tonight.
The walks really got to him. A season high 4 walks issued by Porcello, and 3 of those 4 walks came in to score. He had always pitched well against the Blue Jays previously here at Fenway Park. Came into this game with a 5-1 record in 7 starts against the Jays.
Justin Smoak, the batter, and Smoak homered his last time up after striking out in the first. Home run number 15 on the season. How about this? Of Justin Smoak's last 25 hits, 19 of them have been for extra bases.
Yeah, he's really swinging the bat well, and it all starts right in the batter's box as he gets set. I mean, you could look at that stance and see how locked in he is. He doesn't swing at bad pitches, and there was a time early in the season, this happens a lot to hitters, especially when you're getting very few pitches to hit. You kind of think, okay, they're not going to throw me anything, so you're not ready. And then they surprise you with a strike and you're late on it. He's not getting surprised by anything because he's anticipating something to hit on every pitch.
3-1.
Rick Jacoby is the hitting coach, and he's reminded Smoak time and time again, hey, get ready to hit the fastball. That's what you want to hit. And Smoak's been really doing a great job of that.
And he'll take his walk.
That's the 55th walk that Smoak has taken this season, 5th of the game by the Blue Jays.
And the first base runner allowed by Velasquez, who now will have to deal with Kendrys Morales, who twice has walked and scored tonight. Came in on a Pilar double in the second, and then on another Pilar double in the third. Been an active night for a guy who normally DHs, and he's playing first base, walked twice, has had to run the bases twice. Strike zone's gotten a little wider here. As Morales takes outside, takes what it looks like it was outside, but it's called a strike, and it's 0-1. Hit a home run last night, straightaway center field, hit it from the right side of the plate.
Even with Morales at the plate, you can see how he's got great separation right now. By that I mean when his hands go back, his front foot is going forward, and they're separated perfectly. When that foot is hitting the ground, his hands are in a launch position. There was a time when his hands were going forward before that foot hit the ground. They didn't have much to swing with. But now he's got great separation. That foot is hitting the ground. The hands are going back. And if that ball's in the zone, he makes a good pass at it.
Three balls and a strike. Now Morales hit 178 in April, 233 in May, 277 in June. And he's hitting over 300 here in July. 7 for 21, a 333 average with 3 homers in July. He's gotten better and better as the season has progressed. Full count.
Well, he experimented with glasses all throughout the spring. He tried them for a while. He would change glasses. He tried different style of glasses. Started the season wearing glasses and then decided that that wasn't working. But they discovered he had a weakness, especially in his right eye. But he's been much better without the glasses.
And he'll take his 3rd walk of the night. Up to second goes Smoke. And they are restless here at Fenway. They're used to seeing good baseball. They've won 10 in a row. They're 66-29, best record in the sport right now. But they are grumbling here tonight with the kind of pitching that they have gotten so far. Cora looking on. He hasn't seen a whole lot of this so far this season. Russell Martin, the batter. He has walked, singled, and scored twice. Velasquez can't get what he's looking for right now.
Now I went back to see how many times Morales has drawn 3 walks in a game. He's done it 4 times for his career. But I bet you he's never done it in the first 4 innings of a game.
He deserves some credit for just staying with it, working hard. I mean, he was written off, release him, get rid of him, this and that. And I mean, who knows what he'll be the rest of the year? Who knows if he'll be here and what he'll be next year in the last year of his contract. But for the last 6-7 weeks, he's been a productive hitter.
And you know what? He always kept his head up. He said, I've got confidence in my ability to hit. I'm going to hit. And he has worked his way back to respectability. Another thing that the Blue Jays, I think, really value is the impact he's had with Melendez Diaz and with Lourdes Gurriel Jr. Of course, they're all native Cubans. But Morales is held in high regard by all of his teammates for his preparation, what he brings. I mean, he's a baseball player. He really understands it. And he's certainly taken these 2 guys under his wing and helped them on a daily basis.
Yeah, you see those 2 guys together a lot, and you see those 2 with him a lot.
Yeah. And they're always the first ones out on the field, no matter where they're playing, home or away.
1-2. And Martin takes down and in. Solarte struck out to begin the top of the 4th, and back-to-back walks issued to Smoke and Morales. The Blue Jays up 8-6. And just in the top of the 4th inning. And a swing and a miss. 2 down.
2 strikeouts, 2 walks in the inning. There's Martin is retired for the first time this evening.
And now guys having a heck of a night at the plate. Kevin Pillar, 2 at bats, 2 doubles, 3 runs driven in. The league leader in doubles in the American League is Eduardo Escobar of the Twins, who has 35 already. Alex Bregman has 30. And Pillar, with the 2 he's got tonight, has moved into the top 8 in the American League right now. He's got 27.
Speaking of Bregman, he hit his 20th home run of the season tonight. He's just one of those guys that keeps getting big hits for Houston, and he's having another terrific season. He's got 63 RBIs. And you don't even talk about him when you start talking about the Astros.
He's a young guy. He's just scratching the surface of his ability right now. Called strike over the outside corner, 1-2.
Kevin Pillar has always hit well here at Fenway Park. 9 doubles and 14 RBIs while batting at Fenway Park. This is his 40th career game in this ballpark. You're a ball player. You walk out onto this field and think about all of the great players that have played here over the years. This park opened in 1912. And if you have any appreciation whatsoever for baseball, you're going to feel good about playing in this ballpark. And Kevin has made the most of his opportunities here at Fenway.
Even just walking out from the, even if you're not a player, you're just a bum like me walking from the dugout out to the field. You walk through the same tunnel that great players have been walking out for over 100 years. Here's Pillar with his 3rd hit of the night, and being held at 3rd is Smoke. As Luis Rivera came halfway down the line, Smoke was just about at the bag when Luis gave him the stop sign, and the bases are loaded.
Well, and Smoke, he was out of the game last night with that leg issue. He had a cramp in his leg, and look where Martinez is. He's over in the alley. He's got to go a long ways to his right. That's why Rivera thought initially about sending him. He gave him one windmill go ahead and then threw up a late stop sign, so Smoke was able to put on the brakes.
And Dana Levanchi, the pitching coach, is back to the mound.
Well, Kevin Pillar, he's having a night. Continues to wear out the Red Sox pitching here in this ballpark.
3 for 3, 3 RBIs. And it brings up another guy who's enjoying his night here at Fenway Park.
This is his last at bat, a 3-1 fastball from Rick Porcello, and he hits a laser just inside the pesky pole down the right field line for his 2nd home run of the season. 2nd career home run. He also had a sac fly in the 2nd.
It looked like, I didn't see it live, but it looked like a Blue Jay fan caught that home run. The guy in a blue T-shirt stood up, made a backhanded grab on that home run by Smith last inning. Bases loaded, 2 down. Teoscar Hernandez, if you weren't with us earlier, a late scratch, was originally in the starting lineup, but scratched due to soreness in his heel. So Smith, who was just recalled for the minors today, gets a chance to get right in the lineup, and he is making the most of it.
You can bet that Teoscar's hearing a few Wally Pips down there in the dugout as Smith has driven in 3 and hit a home run. You never know when you're going to get back in there.
He's off a couple of pitches down on the dirt. 2 balls and a strike on Smith. Remember, Velasquez has already walked 2 here in the 4th inning. Bases loaded, 2 down. Bouncing ball for Moreland, and he will force Pilar at second on the throw to Bogarts. 3-6 on the putout, and the Blue Jays will leave them loaded here in the fourth. Leading 8-6. The Red Sox are on a 10-game winning streak, and here's some of the big reasons why. Mookie Betts, you know all about him. Andrew Benintendi not with the club as of tonight. On the bereavement list right now. JD Martinez has been doing this all season long, and Xander Bogaerts was named American League Player of the Week last week.
Yeah, when you look at the totals, Bogaerts with those 13 RBIs, he had 2 doubles, 2 triples, and 2 home runs during the 10-game win streak. But the balance in that lineup is remarkable. JD Martinez, he too drove in 12. He had 3 doubles, 3 home runs. And they have just had so much balance in their lineup that even though Martinez has been the big addition to this lineup, everybody up and down the order has made contributions.
He's 0 for 2 on the night. Reached on a fielder's choice and flied out to center as Ryan Baracki's first pitch of the bottom of the fourth comes in low, ball 1. Yankees and Indians have traded runs. Cleveland now leading the Yankees 5-3 in the bottom of the fifth. There's a strike. Domingo Germán did not have much of an evening for the Yankees tonight. 4 innings, 5 runs, all earned, walked 4. Big arm, struck out 6, but obviously a little bit erratic tonight. This ball drilled to left field, and it's off the monster. Smith will play it on a bounce and get it back in to hold Martinez to a long single.
You know, everybody talks about the great monster and how it really is great for hitters, but I think of JD Martinez, and I think back to Jack Clark when he played here for the Red Sox. How many times he hit line drives just like that one that would have been out of a regular ballpark that are long singles and nothing more. And he hits a screaming line drive 3/4 of the way up that 37-foot green monster and ends up at first. Now Baracki gets the ground ball. It's double play. No harm, no foul.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that's a home run in just about every other ballpark in baseball. Here's Bogaerts, 1 for 2, had an RBI single in the second inning.
I know when Jack Clark came here, you know, he was a big power hitter, but he had a lot of line drives and a lot of times, and he didn't have any speed, so a lot of times he would hit those bullets that would go up against the green monster and end up at first.
Well, the age of the ballpark, one of the reasons why it's such a quirky ballpark is Petrichka's up again. You know, built when it was on a plot of land that existed as it did back then, and there's only so much you can do. They have changed the dimensions. And 310. Not everybody believes it's 310 down the left field line. You and I have never gone out there with a tape measure or anything, but there are those who claim they have, and you hear everything from 305 down to as low as like 298.
I have walked it off as you would on a golf course, and it doesn't measure 310 by my strides, but You know, the genesis of the Green Monster is kind of interesting because when this ballpark was built, there was just a regular fence out there, and the fans outside the ballpark could look in. And the owner at the time, he didn't like the fact that they were getting free baseball, so he built a big high fence. And it was a wooden fence originally, and then it burnt down, and then they built what is basically this Green Monster. But it was only built because he didn't like the fact that there were fans outside the ballpark that got free baseball.
So he kind of stumbled into the most recognizable
Absolutely.
landmark in any baseball stadium. 3-1 the count. And there's ball 4. 2 on with nobody out. And a left-handed batter, but Mitch Moreland coming up. Figure Baraki stays for him, but isn't this the 3rd inning in a row the bullpen's been up? The 2nd inning in a row Petrichka's been up. Shift on for the Blue Jays against the left-hand hitting Moreland. It looks like Pete Walker was just on the phone, or maybe to check and see if Petrichka's ready. And a ground ball is going to find a hole. Rounding third, heading home, Martinez. On his way to third, Bogarts. RBI single Moreland, and it's 8-7.
Well, Moreland picks up the RBI, his 46th of the season, and it is back and forth seesaw battle. And there you see John Gibbons. But first, we'll take a look at the Moreland base hit. Gurriel makes a dive for it, but it's past him into right field. Martinez comes around to score. Bogarts ends up at third, and that's it for Ryan Baraki.
So a rough night for both starters, and a long way to go in this one. 8-7 Blue Jays, bottom of the 4th, and Jake Petrichka coming in for the Blue Jays. First 3 major league starts. He goes just 3 innings plus 3 batters here tonight. 8-7 the Blue Jays lead. Run in, first and third, nobody out. Jake Petrichka on.
Petrichka last worked on Wednesday down in Atlanta. He came in the 3rd inning, pitched an inning and a third. He had just a walk and had a couple of strikeouts. He had a good outing last time out. They'd like to repeat that here tonight.
Eduardo Nunez, the batter. And a little pop-up going back is Travis, and he'll get there in time. Bluffing a start, taking a few steps down the line was Bogarts, and a good move by him. He's trying to force an errant throw, but he scampers back to third, 1 down.
Big first out now because Travis got a good break and went into the outfield. And he's aware first and third, nobody out. That runner at third is going to tag. So Travis quickly turns and fires to home. Okay, Bogarts in place at third. He came down the line, and that's what you got to do. And that pop-up in right field. If it drops, he can score, no problem. But now Petrichka can get out of it with a ground ball double play.
And the middle infielders at double play depth. Morales holding on Moreland at first. Bogart's the runner at third. Solarte backed up there. And ball one. There's a strike. 1 ball and 1 strike on Travis, the DH, who's walked and doubled. Day game tomorrow, 1 o'clock start here in Boston. 12:30 pregame here on Sportsnet. We believe Sam Gaviglio, but not officially announced. For the Blue Jays, we know Eduardo Rodriguez will start for the Red Sox, and then Sunday Marcus Stroman for the Blue Jays, and the Red Sox have yet to announce a starter.
I'm hearing Brian Johnson, the left-hander, will come off the deal, make the start on Sunday, but that has not been officially reported. You know, Rodriguez, what a season he has had. 11-3 with a .362 earned run average in the Red Sox. First team since the '77 Dodgers. They're going to come home on this one.
Morales has Bogarts caught between third and home. Solarte to the plate to Martin. And now they got 2 runners at third base, and Bogarts just surrenders, but he did stay around long enough for the runners to each advance. So 2 down, but second and third.
Yeah, in that situation, you have to break because you don't want them to turn double play. So what you do is you get in a rundown. Morales did the right thing, and it's hard for a right-handed throwing first baseman to turn this one. Bouncing ball, he has to wait on it, and he checks Bogarts, and Bogarts breaks down the line. Kendricks did the right thing. He ran right at him to make Bogarts commit. And then once Bogart sees that the runners have moved up, he concedes the out. And now the Red Sox have runners at second and third, but there are 2 outs.
Well, what a job it would be by Petrichka if he can get Leone and get out of this without surrendering any runs, coming in with first and third and nobody out. A little bit high, ball one. Leone has reached on an error and struck out. The Blue Jays have committed 4 errors tonight, 1 in the first inning, 3 in the second inning, yet they have the lead.
Petrichka has done a very good job this season of stranding inherited base runners. He's allowed just 3 of 12 to come in and score. Man, if he could get out of this one, it would be quite an escape out. Sandy Leone has reached on an error and struck out.
Leone's a switch hitter. 1 ball, 1 strike to count. Down and in.
I have been in games like this in the past here at Fenway Park, down in the bullpen, and the phone will ring in your bullpen and everybody says, don't answer it. Don't answer it. We don't want to go into this game. Wrong number.
And you kind of get caught between, I think, if you're a manager, you're thinking about tonight, but you're thinking about, I mean, you got a day game tomorrow, you got another one Sunday. It's still going to be the Red Sox. It's still going to be Fenway Park. You still could have high scoring games, but these are the kind of series where you see sometimes roster moves get made in the middle of a series because of games like this.
Yeah, and you know what? That's a normal situation now in the major leagues with the 10-day disabled list. There's a lot of back and forth between AAA and the big leagues. Both Alex Cora and John Gibbons understand that, especially for Boston, they're just down the road of Pawtucket. That's their AAA team. They can call and have a guy here in a couple of hours.
The 3-2. And he missed outside, walked Leone and loaded the bases. they're loaded with 2 down for Jackie Bradley Jr. Yeah, he's the number 9 hitter, and yeah, he's hitting .210, but he is well over 300 in his last couple of weeks. The Blue Jays are playing him the same way they played him the last time, or the 2 times he was up tonight, with Gurriel, the shortstop, just on the right side of second base, and Bradley hit a rocket just to the left of second base back in the 2nd inning for a base hit. And he's been peppering the Green Monster with doubles in recent days for the Red Sox. Pulled off on that one a little bit, though.
Again, here's another 2-strike situation for the Red Sox hitters. And they have performed so well this season batting with 2 strikes.
The 0-2. Ooh, very, very close. Kind of games that age managers and pitching coaches. One-two. Big sweeping breaking ball way down and in by the back foot of Bradley. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
The Red Sox as a team are hitting .207 with 2 strikes. That's the best in the major leagues. .207. The major league average with 2 strikes is 172.
We saw last night, all night long, their ability to foul off 2-strike pitches. Mookie Betts did it like 7 or 8 times in that one at bat alone.
Yeah, a 13-pitch at bat led to the grand slam off Happ. Busted the game wide open. Betts has hit 2 triples tonight, and he was given an intentional pass in his last plate appearance.
And a ground ball to second. Travis drops it, picks it up, and throws him out. So the Red Sox will leave the bases loaded. 8-7 to Blue Jays at the end of 4. Time now for a Blue Jays Central update. Here are Jamie Campbell and Joe Siddall in the Samsung broadcast studio.
Canadiana, a celebration of Western heritage, and the greatest outdoor show on earth comes to an end this weekend. Our final day of coverage on Sportsnet 1 begins at 10 Eastern of the Calgary Stampede. Dan?
Thank you, Arash. New inning, new pitcher. 8-7 Blue Jays going top 5, and this is right-hander Tyler Thornburg.
Tyler Thornburg began his career with the Brewers. He was traded here in a trade that sent Travis Shaw to Milwaukee. And he has dealt with injuries since coming here. He was traded here in December of 2016. He missed the entire 17 season with injuries, but he's back now. He has just now rejoined the pitching staff. This is just his 3rd appearance since coming off the DL.
And he'll face the 9, 1, and 2 hitters in the Blue Jays lineup, beginning with Devin Travis, who went 4 for 4 last night. He has walked and grounded out here tonight. After that, Granderson and Gurriel. I don't think Travis expected to hear a strike call there. It was a bit late from the home plate umpire. A little kind of a sag of the shoulders there for Travis. Straight up on the infield, around to the opposite field in the outfield. You see this here at Fenway, the left fielder well over to left center field. You see that a lot more even against right-handed batters. You really see it in Houston too, where the left fielder is playing beyond that scoreboard, figuring that the scoreboard is so shallow, anything hit off there I can go get it quickly anyways and maybe hold him to a single. And you see it here at Fenway, a lot of room in the left field corner for a right-handed batter.
Yeah, and that's what the alignment in this ballpark will do to you. You figure out where the percentages are, and you want to play in the power alley and maybe rob the Blue Jays of a double in that power alley. JD Martinez, as we mentioned, making his 26th start in left field. Their regular left fielder, Andrew Benintendi, is on the bereavement list.
Up back over our heads, up onto the roof here at Fenway Park. Opened in 1912, 2 years older than Wrigley Field, by far the 2 oldest ballparks in baseball. And another foul off, back out of play.
Tyler Thornburg has only faced the Blue Jays once, and that was as a starter when he was in Milwaukee way back in 2012. He matched up against Jesse Chavez, who started for the Blue Jays. They played that game in Milwaukee, and the Blue Jays won 10-9. They scored 2 runs in the top of the ninth for him.
And he gets Travis 1 down.
Take on any project with Home Hardware. Proud partner of the Toronto Blue Jays. Here's how.
1 down to the 5th inning with Buck Martinez, Arash Madani. I'm Dan Schulman. It has been a wild one here at Fenway. 8-7 Blue Jays in the 5th. Then again, it was 8-6 in the 3rd. So things have actually calmed down a bit in the last couple of innings. Granderson looking to get in on the offensive fun here tonight.
That's a changeup that Thornburg will throw. Basically a 3-pitch pitcher: fastball, curveball, and changeup. There's the breaking ball. It'll be 78, 79 miles an hour. His fastball averages about 93 miles an hour.
Granderson pops another one back out of play, just as Travis was doing. This one will wind up on the netting below us behind the plate, and as you can see, they've got their own built-in little system to get those balls back later on tonight, and those will be served up in batting practice tomorrow.
Well, I don't know. They could be scuffed up, and no big leaguer wants to hit a scuffed up baseball.
Anderson never outside the box too much. You can see him choking up, and he does it a little bit more when he gets to a 2-strike count. I mean, not like a Joey Votto choke up on the bat or anything. He chokes up more than any hitter in baseball when he gets to 2 strikes.
Yeah, and Anthony Rizzo has taken up that as well,
Yeah.
and it's just better bat control. You can get the barrel to the baseball a little more consistently with 2 strikes. The bats have changed so much over the years that the style used to be thick handle, big barrel, but now they're all very thin handle, and I think it's a product of all these players grew up using aluminum bats. So light, they had very thin handles and just a modest taper to the barrel, but you used to see some barrel bats with big, huge barrels and flared knobs at the end.
3-2 pitch on the way, and a swing and a miss. 2 down.
Second strikeout for Thornburg, and looked like a changeup that just moved away from Granderson right at the end.
Granderson's now struck out 3 times tonight. Here's Lourdes Gurriel Jr. 1 for 3, had an RBI single back in the second. Aledmus Diaz is the odd man out tonight as John Gibbons continues to rotate the infielders, especially the 3 guys in the middle, in and out of the lineup. Breaking ball fouled back. It would figure to be Travis's day off tomorrow if it's a kind of a strict rotation. We'll see how that develops, whether they just rotate or whether there's some, who's hot and who's not element to it as well. One ball, 2 strikes. And a ground ball in the hole at short. Bogarts has it, but he knows he's got no play. Not that deep and not with pretty good speed for Gurriel, who's got his second hit of the night.
Gurriel had 2 hits in last night's game. He had a double and a single, 9 pair of singles and an RBI. And Bogarts has got good range. He's shaded up the middle. He goes to his right, gloves it, and he knows once he slides, he has no chance to make a play.
It's interesting against a lot of right-handed batters. Bogarts would have been over there in the hole already, but obviously the early book on Gurriel is he uses the whole field. They're playing him pretty much straight up.
Yeah. And when you play hitters straight up, certainly it's an advantage for the batter. You have more holes and more opportunities to spray the ball around, and I think Gurriel's approach is a tough one to defend.
One thing we haven't seen a lot of from him is attempting to steal bases. He's got 1 steal. He sure looks like he gets down the line well, but there's a difference between raw speed and base stealing instincts and ability.
Yeah, the most stolen bases he's had, even going back to Cuba, he had 8 steals 1 season in Cuba in 59 games. He's not really a base stealer. He runs okay. I don't say that he's got above average speed, but he gives you everything he's got every time he hits the ball, and that's what you want. I don't care how fast you are, but run as fast as you can.
I think he's done that every single time we've seen him.
Yeah.
John Gibbons spoke in glowing terms about him before the game as a person, not just what he does as a player, but he really likes what he's seen from him as a person so far at the big league level. Tricky hop coming up on Holt, but he makes the play. Solarte is retired and the Blue Jays are gone. They'll leave that base hit by Gurriel aboard and take an 8-7 lead to the bottom of the 5th. Blue Jays 2 triples and an intentional walk and a grand slam drove into 5 last night. He hits lefties, he hits righties, he hits here, he hits there. How do you get this guy out right now?
Yeah, and you just have to be careful. You'd like to have some leeway when he comes to the plate, but he hit a leadoff triple to start the ball game. Then he had his second triple in the second inning, and he drove in 2 with that second 3-bagger. But you see his average at home, 407 batting at home. Remember, Mookie Betts had a ribcage injury, and he does not qualify as far as the leaderboard in averages, especially at home. Nolan Arenado, the Colorado third baseman, is hitting 373 at home. Manny Machado's hitting 363, and J.D. Martinez came into this game batting 358 here at Fenway Park.
Long throw, and there won't be a throw. So Larte got himself in the air, ready to throw, and then looked like lost the grip on the baseball. And that should be an infield hit for Mookie Betts, which would be his 3rd hit of the night.
Yeah, it will be a hit indeed, because it was going to take an exceptional defensive play to throw him out. So Larte gets to it no problem, and he knew he was going to have to unload in a hurry, but when he went in to get the ball in his glove, he never really had a good grip on it.
So Betts is aboard again. And here's Brock Holt. You know, one of the things that we have always heard about Mookie Betts ever since he came to the big leagues, and we heard it again tonight when our friend Joe Castiglione, the radio announcer, longtime radio announcer for the Red Sox, came into the booth to chat, is he is a very curious guy. He is always asking teammates, coaches, former Red Sox players he looks up to, questions. He's got an insatiable desire to extend his knowledge about baseball and make himself the best player that he can be.
Yeah, and this is his 5th season. He came up in 2014 as a 21-year-old, and you know, when you're around the Red Sox every day, there are a lot of Red Sox legends that are here on a regular basis. He wears out Jim Rice talking about hitting, and you got Dennis Eckersley you could lean on as far as a pitcher and what they look for. You know, Mookie Betts might ask Eckersley, hey, what would you do? How would you pitch to me to try to get me out? But he's always thinking about how he can get better. He's been terrific. He's been consistent this year. As we mentioned, his numbers are down a little bit with at bats because he had that injury.
Ground ball to short. To second one. Travis on to first in time. And the Blue Jays turn the double play.
Gurriel from shortstop came after that ball. He had a long underhand toss, but he gives him a very firm toss and gives it to Travis chest high, and Devin turns it quickly to first base.
Petrichka likes it. Now, I'll bet you anything, even though this was a bit of a different kind of situation than last night, that guy right there was really thinking about keeping that left foot down on the bag until he got rid of the ball. Remember, that was one of the key plays last night.
It certainly was, and he mentioned that to me when he came out for BP. He said, I'm going to keep my foot on the bag tonight. He didn't even know why they were reviewing it. He didn't really even think about that. But then as he thought more and more, he said, maybe I didn't have my foot on the bag when I caught the ball. And that was the case.
He's never dealt with that before, never been called for that before. Wasn't thinking about it in the moment last night.
Well, when you really think about it, the way they have taken away that slide at second base, middle infielder should never have any issues with turning a double play. You can be very deliberate. Step on the back, guys. The runners can't slide into you. They can't break up a double play, so really you don't have much to worry about.
I think last night, I don't think the ball was hit quite as hard as the one tonight. Let's see, who was the hitter? Brock Holt was the hitter. Left-handed batter gets down the line pretty well. I think Devin just felt, I got to be as quick as I can be to have a chance to turn a double play, and just kind of rushed everything a little bit. You know, he had a 4-hit night last night. He didn't really get a chance to enjoy it as much as he would have liked to.
Yeah, he was thinking about that play and how it led to a 5-run inning. It contributed to a 5-run inning. It wasn't necessarily the only thing that went wrong in that inning.
Nope, there was the ball between Happ and Martin, and Happ eventually got to it and made the throw to first, not in time. There was the Betts pop up in foul territory that Smoke got in his glove, but then it popped out of his glove as he took one more step. kind of before he squeezed his glove closed and the ball just popped out, and then Betts extended the at bat another 8 or 9 pitches before hitting the home run. Hey, look out, Dave Dombrowski.
The GM, you got to be aware and keep your eyes on the field here. That ball went up there in a hurry.
He had a pretty good case of happy feet going on that ball right there. He's like, I'm not going to catch it. One of you guys catch it. Well, he has been a highly respected executive in the sport for a long, long time. Started with the White Sox and, of course, was with the Expos back in the 80s and early 90s. And then was the GM of the Marlins when they won the World Series for the first time in 1997.
You know, he started out as a very young executive in the White Sox system, and he was working for Bill Veeck and Roland Heenan. I mean, two of the iconic executives in baseball. And he really had quite a mentoring there.
JD Martinez launches one to left center. Pillar's going to have to run after it on the track. Martinez will put the brakes on. And to be contented with a 2-out double, his second hit of the night.
Boy, JD Martinez, extra base hits, 23rd double of the season. He's got a triple and 28 home runs. And this has been a perfect fit for JD Martinez. This ball was headed to the Green Monster. It falls just a little bit shy as Pillar tried to play the carom off the wall. It bounces away from him, but Martinez settles for the double, especially with 2 outs.
Bringing up Xander Bogaerts, who was 1 for 2 with a walk and an RBI single back in the second. Eight-7 Blue Jays bottom 5. Ryan Baracki, 3+ innings, 3 innings plus 3 batters, charged with 7 runs. 4 of them earned tonight. And activity in the bullpen. It looks like they've been up a little bit. We just noticed with John Axford and Aaron Loop both looking like they are ready if needed. Petrichka trying to get through 2 full innings of relief here tonight. And wouldn't that be a welcome sight for John Gibbons and Pete Walker to not have to use too many relievers in this game? Gavilio got knocked out early Wednesday. A lot of guys were needed then, and it appears Gavilio may start on 2 days rest tomorrow, having thrown only 48 pitches Wednesday in Atlanta. But that remains to be seen. Fouled off, 1-2 on Bogaerts. Buck, we are hearing the Red Sox fans, they're the louder ones, but they have responded to a "Let's Go Blue Jays" chant that is on here. The Blue Jay fans started it, and the Red Sox fans got their backs up about it.
Well, you can see the Blue Jay fans having a lot of fun here in Fenway Park, and the Red Sox fans are saying, wait a minute, this is our house. Well, we see a lot of Blue Jay fans every time we come here, and it's a perfect place to come, especially for a 4-game series over the weekend. They're here early in the afternoon partaking in the tours, because you can come here and take a tour before the gates open. And they will come down on the field, and they'll go up into the Green Monster seats, and they're having a good time.
Never ceases to amaze me how many you see.
They travel
in different
like
ballparks.
crazy.
Yeah. Yes, he did, and he knew it, and he's not happy about it. But Bogaerts strikes out, and what a job by Jake Petrichka, who had 2 scoreless innings, pitches around that 2-out double from JD Martinez, and at the end of 5, the Blue Jays still have the lead.
tier for $39.99. You can watch every out-of-market regular season game live or on demand. And the subscription includes MLB At Bat Premium, so you can watch live baseball on your favorite supported devices. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv to take advantage of the sale. When you sign up, you can watch Chase Utley in his last big league season. As the guys mentioned earlier, today he announced that this year will be his last. And in the press conference, Dan, he said, quote, "I can go into the last chapter of my baseball career with enthusiasm, excitement, but most of all, a clear mind."
Well, he had a tremendous run. Kind of the best 4 or 5 years of his career coincided with the height of the Philadelphia Phillies excellence, including a World Series championship back in 2008. As we have a new pitcher now for the Boston Red Sox going top 6. This is right-hander Ryan Brazier.
Brazier has been around, and he has pitched a lot, but not very often in the majors. He made his debut back in 2013 while pitching for the Angels. Got into 7 games, total of 9 innings. Then he didn't pitch in the big leagues until this year. That's a wide gap. In fact, he spent some time in Japan. Pitched a lot in the minor leagues. Pitched in Mexico and Winter League. Pitched in Hiroshima in 2017. Working out of the bullpen.
Smoke with a fly ball, right field, still going back, but with room on the warning track is Betts, 1 down.
At the Honda Checkered Flag event, the real victory lap is the drive home.
6th inning. Things have settled down a little bit here at Fenway Park after a crazy first 2.5 innings. It's now 8-7 Blue Jays. Jays batting at the top of the 6th. Kendrys Morales, 3 plate appearances, 3 walks tonight. You know, so here's this guy Ryan Brazier, who, as you said, Buck, he's pitched in Mexico and in Japan, and he's throwing 98. And Alex Cora told a good story about him a couple of days ago. He pitched a lot in the spring. The Red Sox wanted to have a look at him, and it doesn't really matter who wins and loses spring training games, but Cora used him as his closer in the spring. Now, late in the game, all your regulars are gone, right? They leave after the 5th inning. So none of the regular members of the Red Sox knew who Ryan Brazier was. And they call him up to the majors last week, and he pitches twice against Texas. And he's throwing 97, 98 miles an hour. And the guys are coming off the field saying to Cora, "Where's this guy been for the last couple of months, throwing 98 miles an hour?" But they dipped into their system, found a live arm, and he's given them a couple of good innings here.
Yeah, and Cora, I'm sure, said, "Well, he was with us in the spring. If you guys would have been around for the last part of the game,
yeah.
You were out playing golf at 3 in the afternoon."
Alex Cora has in his office, opposite his desk, they call it the win wall. There's a picture, like an 8x10 picture of every win the Red Sox have had. It could be a home run or a strikeout or 2 guys hugging at the end of the game, whatever it is. Now, they've won 66 games already, and that wall is pretty much covered. And they're either going to have to move a couch or use the other wall or move his desk or something, but he wants the players to be able, when they come in, or he wants to look at, they want to reinforce the positive. And I don't know if this is something he brought with him or he created on his own, or where this idea came from. And as Morales hits a chopper down to Moreland, Brazier covering 2 down, but practically the entire wall. Imagine 66 8x10 pictures. They're not framed, they're just kind of pasted up on the wall or however they're doing it, but it's covered the entire wall, and it's only middle of July.
Yeah, and it's a good idea too, because when you go in to talk to the manager, and players will go in there from time to time, they look around and say, "Wow, I remember that. Oh yeah, boy, that was a good win for us." And all these great memories are replayed in all the players' minds. Good idea.
2 down in a hurry here in the top of the 6th inning, and here's Russell Martin, 1 for 2 with a walk. Cleveland up 6-3 on the Yankees in the 7th inning. Boy, Baltimore's losing again. They are down 5-1 to Texas. Baltimore is 39.5 games out of first place.
That's hard to fathom, isn't it? Just think a couple years ago, the Blue Jays and the Orioles played in a wild card game. but they have fallen a long way from there. 26 wins. 40 wins fewer than the Red Sox.
Before the All-Star break. The major league record for the most games that a team has finished out of first place, this is in the modern era, 1900 or later, is 65.5 games. The Boston Doves in 1909 finished 65.5 games out of first. Since 2000, the Tigers of 2003 finished 47 games out of first. That's the most anybody has finished out of first in the last 18 years. And really, you got to go back, other than that, you got to go back to the, after the Tigers in 03, you got to go back to the 62 Mets, an expansion team, who finished 60.5 games out of first. The Orioles could threaten some all-time futility records this year.
And you know it's only going to be a more challenging second half because you expect them to trade Manny Machado and possibly Zach Britton, maybe even Brad Brock. I mean, there's a lot of guys there that might not be there in the second half.
Maybe Adam Jones.
Adam Jones is a free agent.
Yeah, he's got 10-5, so he can veto, but he might accept a trade.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting. You know, the All-Star break. And then when they resume play, I think there's 11 days before the trade deadline because the All-Star game is later this season. So a lot of people think the action is going to be fast and furious. And a lot could change from now to then. The standings could change. The injury situation could change.
Didn't go. Boy, every member of the Red Sox had taken 2 or 3 steps toward the dugout, except Mookie Betts in right field didn't move. Everybody else was on their way to the dugout. Alex Cora didn't like the call on the appeal down to first to Mike Malinsky.
Well, Russell did everything he could to check his swing, got his body involved, and he has another opportunity with the full countdown. Cora wasn't happy about that, and you know what? I mean, we're in the 5th inning or 6th inning, and it's 8-7. It's a 1-run game. I mean, those close calls are huge.
So here comes the 3-2. And it's inside, ball 4. The Blue Jays will benefit from that borderline call and get a base runner out of it.
And Russell's been on base 3 times, a couple of walks and a base hit. Kevin Pillar, he's 3 for 3.
2 doubles and a single for Pillar after an 0 for last night. He can be streaky in both directions, and maybe he starts getting hot tonight and keeps it going after tonight. Breaking ball inside corner for a strike. Average from 240 up to 246 on the strength of the 3 hits tonight.
Kevin has had 3 4-hit games in his career. His last one last September 9th against the Tigers. He's also had a 4-hit game against the Red Sox. That was on the 2nd of July 2015.
Quickly in the hole, 0-2. Chased a breaking ball in the dirt, strikes out, and that's all. Going bottom 6, Blue Jays 8, Red Sox 7.
of the Tour de France, 50 clicks shorter than today's grind. Dutchman Dylan Groenewegen took today's 7th stage that went 231 kilometers. It continues tomorrow on Sportsnet 1.
Thank you, Arash. Bottom of the 6th inning at Fenway, and the Blue Jays with an 8-7 lead on the Red Sox. And we have an Aaron Loup sighting. The left-hander Loup is into the game now for the Jays.
Aaron Loup's had a pretty decent season. This is his 44th appearance of the year, but you see he's pitched just 31 1/3 innings. And it's all about location, just like every other pitcher. And when Loup's down and he's throwing that fastball for strikes, he can have a good outing.
Mitch Moreland's going to lead off the inning for the Red Sox. He has grounded out, walked, and had an RBI single. Shift on for the Blue Jays. And away we go in the bottom of the 6th with a chopper back to the third base side of the mound. Loup takes his time and makes the play. 1 pitch and 1 out. You won't believe where WestJet rewards can take you. Redeem your WestJet dollars to over 450 partner destinations around the globe. Join today at westjet.com/rewards. And that's going to be all. That's some efficiency there for Aaron Loup. He got the lefty he was asked to get. John Gibbons claps his hands, takes the ball, pats him on the back. And it's a quick trip in and out of the ball game for Aaron Loup. Hitter John Axford is making his way in with Eduardo Nunez coming up for the Red Sox. With the Blue Jays still leading by 1 as Boston bats here in the bottom of the 6th. Presented by authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. Next pitcher for the Blue Jays, right-hander John Axford.
Well, Axford, after Loup threw 1 pitch and got an out, is in for his 41st appearance of the season. He's 2-1 with a .415. Axford has really done a great job of maintaining his velocity. You know, he is a big surprise and a pleasant one in spring training because he came in throwing 96, 97 miles an hour with great movement. And what he's done here in the middle of the season, he's added a very good hard curveball. It's a very short breaking ball, but it's been a very effective pitch for him.
Ground ball right at Gurriel and in time to get Nunez 2 down. Axford pitched an inning in last night's game, gave up a run on 2 hits.
You know, the Blue Jays have really used their bullpen a lot, but I think Dane Johnson and Pete Walker have done a heck of a job of keeping everybody as fresh as possible. You know, since the Osuna situation, and they had to press everybody into heavy workloads, but they have maintained the effectiveness of Axford, Clippard, and to pair even before Ryan went on the DL. He did a nice job of keeping everybody as fresh as possible, spreading out the workload.
Osuna, by the way, I believe eligible to start his rehab work in the minors on Sunday, and eligible to be back in the major leagues on August the 5th. When you look at the number of innings thrown by the Blue Jay bullpen this year, to your point, Buck, about them being used a lot, 332 1/3, the 5th most number of innings thrown by a relief corps in the American League this year. And they played fewer games than Baltimore, so actually in terms of innings pitched per game for the bullpen, they're 4th. Tampa Bay's easily 1st, but it's misleading because they use the opener for an inning, then a quote-unquote reliever comes in, but he could throw 6, so Tampa Bay's kind of thrown their numbers out of whack. But they're number 1, Angels 2, Oakland 3, and then the Blue Jays 4th in terms of innings per game from their relievers.
Yeah, Tampa Bay has basically just 3 starters, and then those other 2 games they use what they call an opener, and then the relief corps gets a lot of innings in those outings. And now the Blue Jays have 2 left-handers with the addition of Tim Mesa.
And another ground ball. Here comes Gurriel again, and a strong throw onto Morales. Travis retired, and the Red Sox go 1-2-3. We're at the end of 6, and it's still 8-7 Blue Jays. Their all-star lineup.
Take you back to the 3rd inning. Dwight Smith against Rick Porcello. He had a 3-1 count, and he got a fastball, and he leans on it. Keeps it fair just inside the right field foul pole. His 2nd home run of the season. It come off the bat at 111 miles an hour. It wasn't very high, just 17 degrees of launch angle, and he kept it fair. He had a sac fly in the 2nd, a 2-run home run in the 3rd. He's had a good start to his night.
And he'll lead it off here in the top of the 7th. The Blue Jays up 8-7. He'll be followed by Devin Travis and then Curtis Granderson. Ryan Brazier back out for his 2nd inning in relief for the Red Sox. And a fly ball to center field to Jackie Bradley, 1 down. Interesting to see what the lineup looks like tomorrow. The Red Sox will have a lefty on the mound, Eduardo Rodriguez. You got to figure Grichuk's going to be back in there. Teoscar Hernandez, I guess we'll have to wait and see in terms of the soreness of that heel. But if Teoscar can't go, Dwight Smith might find himself in there again tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah, and it might be an opportunity for him to get some at-bats against the lefty.
Devin Travis is 0 for 2 with a walk. Brazier consistently 97, 98 miles an hour with a fastball here tonight. And another ground ball. Bogarts waits, takes, and on to first, 2 down. I tell you, the bullpens have really settled this thing down here tonight.
Yeah, well, maybe the hitters got arm weary early in the game. They were a little bit tired after 3 innings.
I think the third base coaches probably were a little bit tired after 3 innings. There was a lot of waving going on tonight. But it has calmed down significantly. Top of the order now, Curtis Granderson 0 for 4, 3 strikeouts. Shift on for the Red Sox. Two balls, no strikes. And it's bounced foul past Tim Leeper down the line. Xianhuan Oh is now throwing in the bullpen for the Blue Jays. Line to the opposite field, but right at Martinez. Hardly had to move. And the Blue Jays go in order. 7th inning stretch at Fenway. Blue Jays 8, Red Sox 7.
Every other one was spent rehabbing one injury after another. So how does Travis know he's over the last one that knocked him out for most of last season? He's not even thinking about it anymore. Travis told me, my knee is great. I feel great. In my mind, I'm over my knee and I come in every day ready to play without having to worry about that knee. It took Devin a moment to come up with an answer on what he felt the successful second half would be. He said accountability. That Travis wants to be here for his teammates, that he's sick of watching the end of the season from home, and through to the end of September to, quote, bring some life to the team.
Thank you, Arash. Well, he clearly falls under the category of guys who deserve a break, guys who deserve to be healthy, just see what they are. And, you know, he understands the situation. He's starting to fight for playing time a little bit with Gurriel being on the scene, the farm system getting stronger with the better prospects getting closer to the majors, and a lot of infielders, of course, of note in the Blue Jays organization right now. John Axford back out for the bottom of the 7th. But I think we've seen, Arash mentioned the knee, and I think we've seen Buck not only a better hitter since he's come back from Buffalo. I think we've seen a little bit more range and movement, ease of movement out at second base as well.
Yeah, I think so, and that comes with confidence, and the more he plays on that knee, the more he's going to feel like it'll be there for him. And now, as he told Arash, he said, I feel good about my knee. I don't worry about it. I come to the ballpark getting ready to play a game, not to rehab my knee. And you can see he's playing with a lot of confidence in the field and at the plate right now. You know, Devin's never played more than 101 games in the regular season. That was in 2016. And he's played 56 now, 57 games this season. So he just wants to finish up strong. And, you know, you can really feel for him because He's only had one All-Star break, and it's just been always rehab. And I tell you what, having gone through it just once in my life, it's not fun.
Check swing tapper. Axford's got it. And that's the first out as Leon is retired. If you weren't with us earlier, it was a much different kind of night for Ryan Borucki in his 4th big league start. Now the Blue Jays committed 4 errors behind him. He committed 1 of them. His teammates committed 3 others, but he goes just 3 innings plus 3 batters, charged with 7 runs, but only 4 of them earned.
Yeah, and Mookie Betts ambushed him right off the bat. He had a triple in the 1st inning and scored the 1st run. Then Betts tripled in the 2nd inning and scored the 5th run of the game. Another 5-run inning for Boston. The Blue Jays would answer with a 5-run inning of their own in the 3rd. But it was a different outing for Borucki tonight.
Here's Jackie Bradley Jr. John Axford got 2 outs in the 6th. He's gotten the 1st out here in the 7th. O is up at the bullpen if needed as Bradley stands in. So it looks like the path to a potential victory for the Blue Jays is Axford to O to Clippard. And I'm sure John Gibbons would love if Axford can get him through this inning so that O can just work 1, because O pitched last night and Clippard can just work 1.
Yeah, before we get too far away from it, we should commend Jake Petrichka for his effort tonight. He came in after Borucki faced 3 batters in the 4th inning, and boy, that one caught Russell Martin flush, and he's going to take a minute to regroup. Axford's been throwing that hard breaking ball in the dirt, and I'm not sure where it hit Russell, but I don't think it got a lot of protective equipment. Ax has got that hard breaking ball, and he'll throw short of the mark from time to time. Now this is a fastball, and watch where this ball will end up. He backhands it, caught him on the wrist.
The 2-1. And another ground ball. And with a shift on that, Solarte making the play. So that's 5-3 on the put out, 2 down.
You know, one thought about Martin. Well, we're going to have a pitching change before we talk about Russell. You know, Gibbons has already made the call to the bullpen. So he's going to deal with Mookie Betts, but it'll be O instead of Axford as Ax faces 4 and gets 4 ground ball outs.
So the bullpen continues to do its job. I think Axford probably apologizing to Brian Gorman. One of those hard breaking balls in the dirt got Gorman earlier this inning, but a good outing for Axford. And now Mookie Betts getting some information on Sean-Hwan Oh. Big matchup coming when we come back in the bottom of the 7th. Situation. John Gibbons staying on the mound as the new pitcher comes into the game. This was a few days ago, Buck. You remember this well, when Tim Leeper eventually got tossed out of the game because there's a rule in place that an interpreter is not allowed to be on the mound unless a coach is present. But nobody ever enforces the rule, except it was enforced against the Blue Jays the other day, and that was the day when Tim Leeper threw the sliding gloves out on the field. And he got tossed out of the game, and it was a whole production out of the mound, as they say. So Gibby, with a smile on his face, stuck around this time.
Yeah, Eugene Koo is the interpreter for Shenwan Oh, and Gibby had some fun with it when he walked off the mound. He hollered at the home plate umpire Brian Gorman, says, "Hey, I'm taking my guy with me now."
Koo with a locker beside O at home and on the road. And O brought in here to face Mookie Betts in a one-run game in the 7th inning. Betts 3 for 3, 2 triples and an intentional walk. Just high.
Mookie Betts is 0 for 3 against O. But the way he's swinging the bat right now, it's a totally different approach. He's red hot. 3 more hits tonight.
Full count. What a play at third. Solarte lunging to his left and having some fun in the aftermath of that catch. Terrific play at the hot corner by Yangervis Solarte, denying Mookie Betts and getting the Blue Jays defense off the field with a 1-run lead.
The 90s party at Rogers Center. You can join July 19th to celebrate the 90s with Joe Carter, Fred McGriff, and Jose Cruz Jr. Tickets on sale now at bluejays.com/extra innings. All proceeds supporting Jays Care.
Thank you, Mr. Madani. We go to the 8th inning. Blue Jays 8 and the Red Sox 7. And here's Joe Kelly.
Well, Joe Kelly, the hard-throwing right-hander, and he has got great stuff. Look at his opponent's batting average, just 174. He'll throw it up around 100. He's got a terrific breaking ball. Kelly is just one of those guys that is blessed with a golden arm. He averages 98 miles an hour with the fastball. He throws a changeup, curveball, and the slider. He's got it all. Ow!
And he hits Gurriel. Unfortunately, that was a breaking ball. And Gurriel's okay. You could hear him yelling as he saw that pitch coming towards him. He was bailing in a hurry, and he's a lucky guy right now that he didn't get anything worse than that.
Kelly just coming into the game, and you can see the target down and away, and the pitch was up and in, missed by a mile. So the leadoff man's aboard here in the 8th inning. Kelly, a former starter. She came here from St. Louis.
The batter, Yangervis Solarte, who made that fine grab at third to end the bottom of the seventh. At the plate tonight, he is 1 for 4.
Mentioned Kelly's got a big arm, man. He's one of those guys that came over from the National League. It took him a while to adjust to the American League, but he's made a very solid adjustment now. He came over in a July 31st trade in 2014, along with Alan Craig. John Lackey went the other way. He went from Boston to St. Louis.
Along with Matt Barnes, they're the two primary setup men for Alex Cora, the Boston Red Sox. 7th and 8th inning guys in front of Craig Kimbrell. Lined into left field. That's a base hit. Up to second to Gurriel, and the Blue Jays with 2 men on and nobody out.
Solarte with his second hit of the ball game. It's a big hit here in the 8th inning. As Solarte now just 2 for 9 against Joe Kelly. He had a lot of at-bats against him while they were both in the National League. And he likes it.
Here's Justin Smoke, who homered back in the 3rd. He's 1 for 3 with a walk. The one his 15th home run of the season. As he continues to swing a hot bat. The home run tonight, Buck, gives Smoke an extra base hit in his 7th consecutive game. That's the longest such streak of his career and the longest active streak in the majors. The last Blue Jay to have an extra base hit in 7 straight games was Edwin Encarnacion back in 2015. So Smoke's got it rolling right now.
Smoke just missed hitting a home run his last at bat. He flied out on the warning track to Mookie Betts in the 6th inning.
Blue Jays looking to add on. They're up by 1 here in the 8th. Ooh, a cross up there, and the runner's going to advance. How about that? Not only do they not get a strike call, I don't think the pitch was called a strike, even though it was right down the middle. But I think it's ball 2. There was no sign from Brian Gorman. I mean, Leon had to bail. He was expecting breaking ball, got fastball. That's got to be a terrible feeling back there.
Yeah, it is. And it feels like your glove weighs 50 pounds and the ball looks like it's traveling 120 miles an hour. Because he was set up for a breaking ball. He was leaning down to his right to expect the breaking ball, and it got the fastball. Looked like it hit him in the ribs.
So it's a pass ball on Leon. I mean, the pitch is right down the middle of the plate. You kind of can't blame the umpire when the catcher's moving so much, but a break on the count for Smoke and a break that Gurriel comes to 3rd on the play.
Yeah, and that's a big 90 feet in this situation with Smoke at the plate. But boy, that is a helpless feeling when you throw down a sign and you expect to get a breaking ball and you get a fastball, then you guarding against the ball in the dirt, you lean to your right and you get one right in the ribs.
Shift on now for the Red Sox. 2 balls and a strike on Smoke. 1st and 3rd now with a nobody out. Gurriel just asked for that sliding glove to be thrown out of the dugout. It was tossed out to Luis Rivera before the last pitch, and now Gurriel putting it on in case he has to dive in head first at home plate.
Again, the Red Sox are going through their 1st and 3rd defense. Should Solarte break, whether or not they'll throw through, whether or not they will throw to 3rd, or just hold the ball.
And Smoke lines one into right field for a base hit. Gurriel comes in to score. Solarte up to 2nd. and it is 9-7.
It's a big run for Smoke Boy with another RBI. He's got 2 now at 50 for the season. Big run here late in the game, and Alex Cora is out of the Red Sox dugout. Look at another pretty swing from Smoke. He's had 3 terrific at bats tonight as he drilled one to the warning track in right field his last time up, but Kelly is out of the game quickly, facing just 3 batters.
Yeah, he didn't get anybody out, didn't last very long. And left-hander Robbie Scott will come into the game as Kendrys Morales will turn around about from the right side. The Blue Jays have added a little insurance. They're looking to add more here in the top of the 8th inning. Will step aside in a 9-7 game. Left-hander Robbie Scott.
Scott in AAA made 30 appearances as he is on here trying to put out the fire in the 8th inning. Still nobody out for the Blue Jays. First and second. Kendrys Morales, a switch hitter, will turn around and bat right-handed. Scott was recalled Wednesday from AAA Pawtucket, his second stint this season. He also was called up on the 19th of June. He made his Sox debut that night in Minnesota.
Teoscar Hernandez might be available after being a late scratch with a sore heel. Morales slices a ball down the right field line. It's dropping and will bounce up into the seats. An automatic double for Morales. Solarte will come in to score. Smoke to third, and it is 10-7.
Yeah, that ball bouncing over the fence down there in the corner cost Morales another RBI. Smoke would have scored had that ball stayed in play. Well, they turn Morales around more often than not, and he's a very good hitter from the right side. That's a good pitch down and away. He stays on it and drives it to the opposite field. All the while, this ball is slicing away from Mookie Betts, and it hits on a warning track and bounces over that low fence down the right field line.
Here's Russell Martin, 1 for 2 with a couple of walks. And a ground ball right up the middle, and Morales was running to third. Smoke wasn't going home. Now Smoke has no choice but to go home, and they'll put the tag on him. Morales just took off. Had he stayed put, they would have gotten Martin at first, and it would have been second and third instead of first and third.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, but when you have the infield drawn in here, third base coach will tell the runner at second whether or not the runner at third is going to run. And you can see once Morales was at shortstop, Smoke had to take off, but Morales broke on contact with the infield drawn in. Now they got 2 runners at third, and Smoke just runs into the out.
And there's no way with nobody out, Justin Smoke would be going on contact with the infield in. So Morales just must have missed a sign or made a bad assumption or something. We'll find out a little bit later on.
Third base coaches will have a sign for that guy at second base, and he'll tell him, hey, It's got to go through before you move, and obviously Kendricks didn't see that sign from Luis Rivera because Smoke was not running on contact.
You know, this is Boston. This is Fenway Park. These are the Red Sox. You can't assume because they got in a couple of runs they don't need more, and Kevin Pillar's got a 4-hit night, and that'll add to the total. It's now 11-7, a big RBI single. Pillar, his 4th hit and his 4th RBI in the game.
Well, we talked about how well Kevin has always hit in this ballpark, and he's had another good night tonight. He had a pair of doubles in his first 2 at-bats, single in his 3rd at-bat, struck out in his 4th at-bat. Now he picks up his 4th hit of the night.
And the pinch hitter for the Blue Jays, we saw Teoscar Hernandez with a bat, but it's Randall Grichuk who's coming up to bat for Dwight Smith Jr. You get a righty up there against the left-hander Scott. Grichuk figured at some point probably to come in for defense as well, with the Blue Jays leading the game, so now he'll just stay in the game. Pretty good night for Dwight Smith Jr. 1 for 3, homered, had a sac fly, drove in 3. Lined hard but foul down the line. Smith back in the big leagues. Would appear at least for the weekend. Marco Estrada going on the DL, but eligible to come off after the All-Star break. It's a retroactive assignment, and they were going to pitch Marco between now and Sunday, so may as well get another body up here.
Randall has not had a pinch hit at bat this season. Blue Jays as a team have hit very well pitch hitting.
Another one hit hard but foul.
For those fans, they clamor after those line drives into the seats. When you look at players on the field, when they hit one into the dugout, everybody's ducking and dodging. There's a happy fan with a souvenir.
Well, look at those numbers. You see that? The Jays are 8 for 13 with runners in scoring position tonight. And they get 8 for 14 as Grichuk strikes out for the 2nd out. And here comes Devin Travis, who's 0 for 3 with a walk. Big 3-run top of the 8th inning here for the Blue Jays to extend the lead. They're trying to snap a 6-game losing streak to the Red Sox. They're 2-8 against the Red Sox overall this year. Sweeping breaking ball winds up down and in. 2 balls, no strikes.
Wow, this is something the Blue Jays haven't done very often recently, is they've had multiple run innings. They had 3 in the 2nd, 5 in the 3rd, 3 more here in the 8th, and they've been adding on late, and that's huge, especially in this ballpark.
They've really benefited from some wildness from the Red Sox pitching staff. 7 walks and a hit batter tonight. Now 3-0. Travis didn't even look down to 3rd. You think that means he knows he does have the green light, or he knows he does not have the green light?
I think he probably knows he does not have the green light. I think he's probably going to take one for sure.
Tim Mayza's up in the bullpen. Popped up first base side in foul territory, and room. What a nice play by Leon up against the screen, and that'll retire the side. But not before the Blue Jays get 3 runs and now lead 11-7 to go into the bottom of the 8th. Time now for a Blue Jays Central update. Here is Jamie Campbell alongside Cliff Floyd in the Samsung broadcast studio.
Team shop for the Toronto Blue Jays. You can visit them at the Toronto Eaton Centre, Rogers Centre gates 1 and 5, and every in-stadium kiosk, or by visiting jayshop.ca. Dan?
Thank you, Arash. The usual Sweet Caroline here going to the bottom of the 8th inning. Changes for the Blue Jays. Curtis Granderson has moved from right to left field. That's because Randall Grichuk has stayed in the game after pinch hitting for Dwight Smith, and Grichuk will go to his customary spot in right. San Juan O is back on the mound. Activity in the pen. Tyler Clippard looks like he just got up right now. We'll see how far O can take the Blue Jays now with a 4-run lead. He got the last out in the 7th inning.
Remember, the Blue Jays aren't really sure who's going to start tomorrow, and they need all the bullpen innings as they can preserve here tonight. Clippard is throwing along with Tim Meza.
The thing about O is he pitched last night. He threw 24 pitches, so no matter what he does tonight, he's probably out of commission tomorrow. So you may as well get everything you can out of him tonight if he's pitching well.
Yeah, I agree with that. Go ahead and see what you can do with O out there. He gave up a leadoff double and then was able to strand that runner at third base in the 8th inning. Excuse me, that was last night. Came in and got 1 out. This is going to be down the line.
Granderson giving chase in the corner, and Brock Holt has himself a leadoff double.
Holt's second hit of the night. His 13th double of the season. And obviously, you're never really comfortable in this ballpark, especially when you get laid off double and they're in the middle of their order. J.D. Martinez, Xander Bogaerts, and Mitch Moreland, the next scheduled batters.
Martinez 2 for 4 tonight, a single, a double, and a run scored. 6 more outs to go for the Blue Jays to try to secure this victory here tonight. John Gibbons feels that when O is not pushed too hard, is not overworked, that his stuff really plays up a notch or two, that the stuff is really good. But as you said, Bucks, the problem is if the starters aren't going deep enough into games, then you're pushing the relievers harder than you want to.
Yeah, and we talked about that earlier with the way that they have really spread the workload out a little bit. I think it's kept everybody as fresh as possible. given the fact that Tepera's on a DL and Osuna's not been available since second week of May. This Red Sox team, they can score a lot of runs, and they have been very good late in games. They have scored 147 runs from the 7th inning on. And they have such good hitters, it doesn't make any difference if they're facing the set of men in the closers.
Foul to back, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Blue Jays feel like they can elevate the ball on JD Martinez. And they were able to handle it effectively last night. Struck him out a couple of times by elevating the fastball.
Pete Walker on the phone again as Clippard continues to throw. Mesa's up as well. Tried to elevate again.
Well, there's so much talk about launch angle and hitting the ball in the air. It's very difficult for hitters to get underneath that high fastball and hit it into the air. You really got to get on top of that pitch, and that's counter to that launch angle philosophy.
Swing and a miss at a slow breaking ball for out number 1.
Yeah, O's got all of the pitches in. Last night he used a very good split finger pitch to get Brock Holt out, and here he takes the curveball. And watch how Martinez is out in front. He doesn't expect it to be that slow of a breaking ball, but it's very effective and a timely pitch from O.
So now Xander Bogaerts. O has thrown 15 pitches. As we mentioned, he threw 24 last night. The Red Sox, we assume, are playing with a short bench tonight, that Steve Pearce is probably not available after getting hit by the Jay Happ pitch on the leg last night. Other than Pearce, they've got the switch hitter Blake Swihart and a left-handed batter Soo-Wei Lin, who was called up for the minors just prior to yesterday's game when their regular third baseman Rafael Devers went on the DL with a shoulder problem. So Alex Cora does not have the usual options that he is accustomed to having on the bench.
Be interesting if Bogart should reach base here, whether or not they'd go to Mesa to face Moreland. More than likely that's what they have on their mind.
Which would probably be for just one batter, and then you're asking Clipper to go the rest of the way. Three and 0. Strike. Runner at second, 1 out. Blue Jays 11 and the Red Sox 7 here in the bottom of the 8th. Crowd has started to thin out a little bit here at Fenway due to the length of the ball game tonight. I would imagine all the Blue Jay fans who are here, and there are a fair number of them, they're sticking around. They're here for the weekend. They're going to get everything they can out of this ball game in this series. Swing and a miss and a full count.
.20 pitches now thrown by O, and we may see a pitching change no matter what happens in this at bat. It might be Mesa for Moreland.
And a fastball for strike 3 called. 2 down.
Well, Bogarts couldn't get the bat off his shoulder. He strikes out for a third time, and sure enough, John Gibbons has already made the call to the left-hander Tim Mesa. Bogarts just freezes on that fastball, knee high, right over the middle of the plate, and does a nice job.
Out. Mesa coming in. Moreland coming up. Blue Jays up by 4 in the bottom of the 8th. through 41 pitches just 2 days ago in Atlanta. He's on here in all likelihood just to try to get one batter out.
Yeah, and he's got a left-handed batter in Mitch Moreland, and Mays has been a little bit better lately. He was able to get 2 innings of work, as you mentioned, Dan, and I thought he threw the ball very well. He had better command of his slider in that last outing. Got a couple of strikeouts. He struck out Ozzie Albies and struck out Freddie Freeman. Albies a switch hitter and Freeman a left-handed hitter, so he did a good job in his 4th inning. He went 3 up, 3 down, no problem. He would finish up with a career-high 4 strikeouts in that outing.
Holtz out at second, 2 down as the Blue Jays position themselves on the infield. Shift on Gurriel around to the right side. Solarte alone on the left side of the diamond. Moreland 1 for 3 with a walk. And a called strike, says Brian Gorman. 0-1.
Good fastball to get ahead, and Mays' fastball slider, and he's got a good fastball. That last pitch was 95 miles an hour.
And a weak ground ball to the right side for Devin Travis, and Mesa gets his man. The Red Sox will leave that leadoff double aboard, going to the 9th, 11-7 Blue Jays.
Today for WWE's final stop before SummerSlam and its Extreme Rules. A full slate of championship bouts with the biggest names in sports entertainment awaits in Pittsburgh, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific on the WWE Network.
Rash good times for these Blue Jays fans at Fenway Park tonight. The Jays are leading 11-7 going to the top of the 9th inning. Robbie Scott still in the game for Boston. A big 3-run top of the 8th inning. And some really good work out of the Blue Jay bullpen tonight. Really good work from Petrichka, Loop, Axford, O, and Mesa thus far, with Clippard likely to come.
Yeah, and they have done a great job of keeping the Red Sox off the board. They have stymied them. Red Sox last scored in the 4th inning. They shut them out for 4 innings, and the Blue Jays got an extra 3 runs in the 8th.
Scott facing Curtis Granderson. This is the 6th at bat of the night for Granderson. Blue Jays with 11 runs on 13 hits, 4 errors, all of them in the first 2 innings, leading to 3 unearned runs. The Red Sox 7 runs, 11 hits, no errors. The Blue Jays have left 9 men on. The Red Sox 10.
Yeah, the way it started out, it looked like it might be 20-19 by the end of this thing. But the pitchers have settled in. Baraki, the starter for the Blue Jays, went just 3 innings and faced 3 batters in the 4th. Rick Porcello, his mound opponent, lasted just 2 innings.
And that hit him. That just totally got away from Scott. And Granderson down to first.
Scott, that sidearm delivery, boy, that caught him right in the thigh. And that one's going to leave a mark as it fastball just stayed out there and there was no place for Curtis to go. Sidearm delivery, and you can see the spin, the two-seam spin, and catches him right on the back of the hamstring. That's going to hurt.
The batter now, Lourdes Gurriel Jr., 2 for 4 and hit by a pitch. Third consecutive multi-hit game for Gurriel. 6 for 12 in his last 3 games.
His average is up to 257. A steady climb since he has returned from AAA.
High and deep and well foul down the left field line. And right over the Coca-Cola sign and out of the ballpark.
But you can see how Gurriel can handle both sides of the plate. That ball was inside and he was all over it. He had a RBI single to center and a base hit to the shortstop hole in the 5th. We've seen him get base hits down the right field line. He hits them from foul line to foul line.
One and one the count. 11-7 Blue Jays, top of the 9th. And out of play to the right side. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Gurriel. Blue Jays signed Gurriel to a major league contract, so you don't have to really worry about starting the clock or service time or any of that. A 7-year, $22 million deal, regardless of where he was or is playing. Inside, 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Well, I think the Blue Jays were aware they had to start his clock because each year that ticked off, he wasn't in the big leagues. That was going against that contract. So, you know, once he was healthy, once he was playing regularly down in the minor leagues, and he started out in AA, went to AAA, and then they were anxious to call him up here and get him some major league time.
He is 24 years of age. And began his time in the minor leagues. He was playing in Cuba, began his time in the minor leagues just last year. So he's been playing some catch up in terms of playing here in North America, moving his way up the ladder, but boy, he is making an impression. 3-2 the count. High fly ball to medium depth left field. And Martinez there. Gurriel retired 1 down. Now Yangervis Solarte will turn around and bat for the right side against the left-hander Scott. Solarte's 2 for 5 tonight. Big hitters for the Blue Jays tonight. Certainly you got to start with Kevin Pillar. 4 for 5 with 2 doubles and 4 RBIs. Justin Smoke has homered and driven in a couple. Dwight Smith, before he was taken out of the game, homered, and he's driven in 3.
Yeah, good balance, and especially down in the order. Kevin Pillar hitting 7th, Smith hitting 8th. They were able to contribute offensively. That'll be a nice feeling for Dwight Smith Jr., who was playing in Lehigh Valley last night.
The players get it, though. The Smiths and the Mazas, as Clippard is getting loose in the bullpen, they understand, obviously, the concept of having options, being on the shuttle up and down, teams using the roster spot. It's different than it used to be, but the players figure it out quickly. Remember Ryan Tepera had it, what, 3 years ago, I guess. He was up and down about 6 times. Holt waits for it to come down and drops it. Granderson on his way to second, and he will be forced. So it winds up with the same result. Solarte at first, 2 down.
Beauty Tone is the official paint of the Toronto Blue Jays, only available at Home Hardware. Here's how.
Well, an adventure for Brock Holt, but it didn't wind up hurting the Red Sox.
Well, you know what, and yeah, that's why you run. And you have to run, and you know, sometimes we see players pop up and stay at home plate thinking, well, he's going to catch it, but you never know when that's going to happen. And it can be very embarrassing. The Blue Jays now have made a switch as Diaz takes over as a pinch runner. Ledmus Diaz running for Solarte at first base.
And presumably will stay in the game at third base. The batter is Justin Smoke. Wasn't a whole lot Granderson could do on that play, obviously. He's got to be close to first base, assuming that pop-up's going to be caught. He can't be more than a couple of steps off first.
The guy that's really got to run is the guy that hits it.
Yeah.
He's got to get down to first base, and Solarte, he was down there, so Granderson was forced out. It's fielder's choice to Solarte.
Smoke chases 2-1. Solarte's night is done. And a high fly ball to deep left field. Martinez back, turns, and it's gone. 2-run shot up above the Green Monster, and the second home run of the night for Justin Smoke. He is on a tear.
Boy, he sure is. And doesn't matter right-handed, left-handed, doesn't make any difference. Soft tosser, hard thrower. He is on everything right now. 2 more home runs tonight for Smokey. He's driven in 4. He now has 16 home runs. He's catching up with his pace a year ago. 7 home runs in his last 13 games. And boy, he is a hot hitter right now.
He just tied Yangervis Solarte for the team lead in home runs. He has taken over the team lead in RBIs.
Home runs number 7 and 8 for Smoke here in this ballpark. And this one was a high drive into the Green Monster seats.
13-7 for the Blue Jays.
Boy, he's a great low ball hitter. Whether he's hitting right-handed or left-handed, anything down around the knees, bottom of the strike zone, he can go down and hit it out of any ballpark.
Smoke homers from both sides of the plate. Boy, after the bottom of the second, when the Blue Jays were kicking the ball around and Boston scored 5 and led 6-3, you wouldn't have guessed this would be the way it's going right now here in the 9th.
Now, it sure looked like it was going to be a long night, but they tightened up the defense. Pitching got better, and now they have a 6-run lead.
And Rick Porcello just couldn't get outs tonight. He gave up 5 runs in the 3rd without getting an out. Smoke homered off him. Smith homered off him. Smoke looks like he's pretty comfortable in that DH role. He probably doesn't want to do it too much, but he thrived there tonight. And Morales strikes out. And that'll be all. But 2 more runs for the Blue Jays on the second home run of the night for Justin Smoke. And the Jays will take a 6-run lead to the bottom of the 9th.
Blue Jays on Sportsnet. Presented by Honda. The Honda Checkered Flag event is back. Hurry in to grab the Civic that matches your game.
Well, the Blue Jays once down 6-3 in this game, now lead 13-7. As we move to the bottom of the ninth, and Tyler Clippard is on looking for the last 3 outs.
47th appearance of the season for Clippard. It is a non-save situation, obviously, but John Gibbons wasn't going to take any chances as he's called upon Clippard here. Bottom in the order, Nunez, Travis, and Leon, the scheduled batters for Boston.
Aledmus Diaz stays in the game at third base after pinch running for Yangervis Solarte. Eduardo Nunez leading it off. 13 runs allowed by the Red Sox, the most they have given up in a game this season. And the Blue Jays last scored this many back in June the 10th against Baltimore in a 13-3 win. Soft liner, and it'll get into center field for a base hit. Now for a preview of what's coming up on Sportsnet Central, here are Jesse and Aaron. All right, guys, thanks. That first semifinal at Wimbledon today was absolutely nuts. Anderson and Isner, and I think it was 26-24 in the 5th set. 2 big guys, powerful serves. Nobody could break the other guy. They just kept going and going and going.
Tyler Clippard was a very interested observer. Clippard and Eisner work out together in Florida, play golf in the offseason. He was very interested. Watched that, obviously, and that's pretty cool. 2 different sports, 2 different personalities, and he was locked in on that match.
Isner is 6'10", and Clippard just felt badly for him. He said he's never been to a Grand Slam final, and he was so close. And boy, just got worn down a little bit. It looked like a little more than Anderson. A 6.5-hour match.
Well, like Clippard was saying, he's 6'10" and weighs 250.
Right.
Bouncing around on a tennis court for what, 6.5 hours?
Yeah. An 0-2 count on Sam Travis. And yes, he did, says Brian Gorman. Travis strikes out for out number 1. I'll tell you, for a fan base whose team has won 10 in a row and has the best record in baseball, they're turning on him in a hurry here tonight.
Yeah, they sure are. And they really got back into it. They had a 6-3 lead, and then Blue Jays came right back against Porcello and got 5 runs in the top of the 3rd. And you heard it right then. They started breaking out the Bluebirds. But you're right. They're on the verge of seeing this 10-game win streak come to an end. I'm very happy.
I would imagine if the Blue Jays go on to win this game that Jake Petrichka would get the win. Baraki only went 3+ innings, not eligible. Petrichka worked 2 innings, and I would guess it would be him. The official score has some leeway in terms of deciding who gets the win in the bullpen.
Given the situation that he inherited in the way he was able to come in and strand those base runners, I would give it to him for sure.
Non-save situation here for Clippard. Again, expecting to see Sam Gaviglio start the game tomorrow. The Blue Jays will confirm one way or another after the game tonight. I would expect Luke Maile would be behind the plate tomorrow. Day game after a night game. Eduardo Rodriguez on the mound for the Red Sox. And a swing and a miss for out number 2.
Clippard has pitched a lot in this ballpark. This is his 14th career appearance here in Fenway, and he knows how things can get away. After a leadoff single, he's been able to come back and get a couple of strikeouts, so now the Red Sox are down to their final out.
Be interesting tomorrow, Buck. Only Joe Biagini, who got 7 outs yesterday, and Luis Santos, who also pitched in last night's game. No, he did not pitch last night. Pitched in Atlanta the day before. Only those 2 were not used tonight. Santos was up a little bit tonight, so a little thin. Now the lefties, Loop and Mesa, both just went one batter tonight, so they'll be available. But whoever starts tomorrow, and again, it appears it'll be Gaviglio on 2 days rest after throwing 48 pitches Wednesday in Atlanta. Again, the Blue Jays will desperately need some length out of their starter. Bouncing ball to first. Morales, Clippard, ball game. The Blue Jays win a wild one here at Fenway, especially wild in the early going, as they beat the Red Sox 13-7 and snap that 6-game losing streak against the Red Sox.
Yeah, and they snapped the Red Sox 10-game win streak. It could have really gotten ugly because the Blue Jays were kicking it around early, and they gave up a 5 spot in the bottom of the second. But they showed a lot of character and a lot of resolve tonight as they came back with 5 of their own in the third. And then the big insurance runs in the 8th and 9th inning, and they win it, and they've put the first 2 games of this series.
And we will see you again tomorrow afternoon.